got off mic, so we have nothing to talk about
yes.
now.
No, we didn't. You were talking about interviewing Willie Nelson, though.
Yeah, I was talking about, I really enjoyed your interview with Tommy Rosny yesterday. I think he's a great guy. He's a young boy. I was saying to you, we were the Gooch brothers,
right.
and Tommy used to play us on the radio, and to hear our tune played on the radio. Is that me?
I don't know what's going on there. Yeah,
I'll turn it on. And then Tommy would give you a mention. To get a mention on the radio was the biggest thing. So Tommy's a star and all right. So I loved your interview. It was nice, relaxed and calm. And, you know, I learned things yesterday that I didn't even know.
Thanks, Lee. It is on the podcast, and also I posted up on my social media if people want to watch it as well. But he, in his top 3, to interview Willie Nelson.
Yeah.
You did interview
I
Willie
did,
Nelson.
yeah, way back. It was in the waterfront.
What a waste of a good interview that must have been.
Yeah, it was. I took my dad up. It was Dad's birthday, and we met Willie Nelson after the gig. And it was the days of mini discs, you know, the wee mini discs.
Oh,
you remember them, wee boys? And did the interview. Had about 20 minutes with him, and it was great. And he gave us his bandana that he wore, all sweaty and stuff, signed it, and his plectrum and all that kind of stuff, and signed it.
He signed a plectrum.
No, he didn't sign a plectrum because they're tooty.
No,
but he gave us his plectrum and stuff. But he was a nice guy.
Did you get that framed?
Give it to Dad. It was Dad's birthday. Yeah, so he did.
He did.
Bandana and all that kind of stuff. And then he was telling us about, you know, Patsy Cline writing Crazy and all that type of stuff. Amazing. But the sound of his gig that night was rubbish. Do you know, the guitar with the sound in the place was bad, like, do you know? And that old guitar he has, do you know, it's seen better days.
That's a bit harshly. I thought it was only me that you sort of tore into.
No, but I'm just saying. Nelson. But I love Willie Nelson and his
review of your programme.
Yeah, so I had I messaged Tommy yesterday after sitting in the car listening to that interview, and I couldn't get on with my work because I wanted to hear the rest of the interview with him yourselves.
So that interview may at some point or other find its way onto the Country Boys show.
Yeah.
Right, cool. Brilliant stuff, Lee. We'll have you back tomorrow morning at 6:30. The 9 till noon show just around the corner after. We get the news headlines now from Donald Kavanagh.
Thank you, Greg. Good morning. 2 men are due in court in Dungannon today, charged in connection with the murder of a Strabane man in Castlederg at the weekend. With more, here's Donna Marie Doherty.
Detectives investigating the murder of Conor Brown in Castlederg on Saturday have charged 2 men. The men aged 27 and 28 are both charged with murder. The 28-year-old is further charged with possession of an offensive weapon with intent to commit an indictable offence. They are expected to appear before Dungannon Magistrates Court later today. 2 other men aged 28 and 31 have been released following questioning, and a file will be submitted to the Public Prosecution Service.
Donegal County Council is set to get a budget boost of at least €1.5 million from the Department of Housing and Local Government. A memo going to Cabinet will confirm more than €75 million in additional funding for the day-to-day running of council areas. It's part of a revision of the distribution of money from local property tax collections. Major changes are on the way for the country's roads. They're set to reduce on speed limits on national secondary roads from 100 to 80 kilometres an hour. The limit will go from 80 to 60 on rural and local roads and reduce to 30 kilometres in residential areas in towns and cities. Junior Transport Minister Jack Chambers says the changes are radical but necessary.
We've seen a shocking rise in fatalities and a really worrying trend with an increase in 3 of the last 4 years. 127 people have lost their lives so far this year, which has caused absolute devastation for families, and I think many tragedies which have shocked the nation. And as Minister, I want to bring initiative and a comprehensive response.
Uisce Éireann is warning consumers in the Finn Valley and other areas supplied by the Lochmorn network that pump failure may cause supply disruptions and discoloration to water today. Works are scheduled to take place until 8 o'clock this evening. And the CEO of Inclusion Ireland says they were saddened and shocked but not surprised by revelations in the latest report from the Ombudsman for Children. The Nowhere to Turn investigation found children with disabilities were being left in inappropriate healthcare settings because proper respite services weren't available. The head of Inclusion Ireland, Derval McDonough, says families are facing heartbreaking situations because the correct services simply aren't there.
Can you imagine the desperation of a mother and a father bringing their child to an A&E, the child who's not medically unwell but who might be distressed and needs support? Imagine what that takes, and the fact that this is what our system does to children and their families right now.
Well, the forecast on the areas of Mr. Fog will clear this morning, leaving a warm and humid day with spells of sunshine, largely dry, but a few showers will develop, some possibly heavy and thundery. Top temperatures today 22 to 26 degrees Celsius in a moderate southerly breeze. And that's Highland Radio News. Back with news again at 10 o'clock.
Do you need to get Get smart with your spending so you can do more with your money.
Sounds like a lot of work.
Not with OnPost Money Manager, the smart budgeting app that does the work for you. Securely link all your current accounts and credit cards and see all your spending in one place.
What if I'm running low on cash?
You'll get a heads up with spending and budget alerts.
Sounds expensive.
Not at all. It's free to use whoever you bank with.
Say no more. I'm going to download the app now.
Do more with your money, no matter who you bank with. Search OnPost Money Manager.
Money Manager is provided by OnPost in conjunction with Tink. Tink is a payment institution authorised by the Swedish Financial Supervisory Authority to provide account information services.
The county's number one talk show, The 9 till Noon Show on Highland Radio. And now, it's time for the talk of the Northwest, The 9 till Noon Show with Greg Hughes on Highland Radio.
Hello, good morning to you. Approaching 5 minutes past 9 on this Wednesday. It's the 6th of September 2023, and you're very welcome along to the 9 till Noon Show. We've a busy show for you as always, and our lines are open for you to raise your issues, to have your say, and so on and so forth. 086 60 25,000. That's the WhatsApp and text number. 086 60 25,000. If you're listening outside the Republic of Ireland, 00353 86 60 25,000. And if you want to give us a buzz, 07491 25,000. The team for the next week or so is me, Donna Marie, and Neve, and we'll look after you. If you want to email us, it's comments@highlandradio.com. All right, let's have a look at what's making some of the papers today quite interesting, as some of the stories we'll see as we go through them. We'll start with the Finn Valley Voice. A Ballabafay man who suffered a traumatic workplace accident nearly 1 year ago plans to take on an ergo climb. Marius McCloskey, a tree surgeon for over 30 years, was left with chronic injuries when he fell almost 20 feet from a tree on 10th of September 22. He was told it was immeasurable how close he came to not walking again by a consultant at LUH. Marius is married to Caroline, and they have a child, Kiva, and he's going to climb ergo. We wish him every success in that endeavour. The Inish Times tells us this morning that a series of public meetings are taking place around the county over the coming weeks to give affected homeowners information about the enhanced defective block scheme. The meetings are being hosted by the Mica Action Group, MAG, and are aimed at bringing homeowners up to date on the new defective concrete block remediation scheme, which opened to applications at the beginning of July. The first meeting takes place at the Mallinhead Community Centre on Monday, September 11th at 7 p.m. All the meetings will include speakers from the redress focus groups who will address issues around banking and insurance. And I've had a bit of a spike or a peak lately in people in council-owned accommodation that they're living in and renting from the council, not getting much information, houses deteriorating very, very quickly, and they're feeling very anxious about the winter ahead. Now, I'm not sure if it's across the board or just some tenants, but if you can give us a sense of the situation there. As I say, people, obviously, there's the private homeowners, but there are those living in local authority housing whose houses are worsening all the while. And some are contacting me saying that they've had no contact at all, or they don't know what the plan is or where they're going to go. But they're starting to feel really desperate that their homes are unsafe. If that's you as well, let me know. 086 60 25,000 if it's something that we need to be talking a little bit more about. The Donegal Post tells us that planning permission has been granted for significant changes to the development at the Mullins, Donegal Town. The new plans still include a swimming pool and associated facilities, but will see significantly more residential units than originally planned. Originally held as a modern flagship development for Donegal Town, the initial plans included housing, a swimming pool, transport hub, community and leisure building, a bulky goods building and office facilities. However, conditional planning permission has been granted for a number of modifications to the major site just outside Donegal Town. Changes include the omission of the bulky goods building and the community and leisure building to allow for construction of an additional 28 houses. This includes 4 two-bedroomed houses, 8 three-bedroomed houses, 12 four-bedroom houses and 4 five-bedroomed houses. On to the Irish Independent, and though the government has been looking at this, we're told, for a couple of years, this has come somewhat out of the blue to me in any case, and this is the decision by government to press ahead with a significant reduction in speed limits. They say it is in the wake of the recent spate of road tragedy, the awful loss of life that we've all experienced. Well, speed limits are set to be cut on a significant number of roads as authorities seek to reduce the number of deaths and serious injuries. Limits will be lowered to 80 kilometres on national secondary roads. They're at 100 currently. 60 kilometres on local and rural roads. Now, you know yourself, the silly little narrow roads with grass going up the middle of them, sometimes they're currently 80. They're going to be dropped to 60. I don't think anyone would see an issue with that. In town centres and housing estates, 30 kilometres would be the new speed limits. This is part of a major government overhaul. After a summer of tragedy on Ireland's roads, Junior Transport Minister Jack Chambers will bring the details of a comprehensive speed limit review to Cabinet within weeks. It's proposed the most significant changes to speed limits on Irish roads in nearly 2 decades. The government hopes the proposed overhaul will make roads safer and reduce the rate of fatalities, with 127 people dying following road crashes this year. Now, as I say, this could have significant implications. Of course, in terms of reducing the number of road deaths. If that is what it does. Could anyone truly argue against that? But also increasing the time it will take to travel around the place. Now, it is a little bit complex because they're lowering the default limits, but they can still be varied upwards. So, in other words, if I understand it correctly, whilst, say, for instance, the Ballyshannon to Donegal Town Road, it would not necessarily be 80. I think the council could vary that upwards. I think that's a secondary road, isn't it? As I say, it's really complex, and I, along with probably you listening out there, will get a better grasp and feel for what is being proposed. But it effectively could see significant reductions on the roads that you drive in terms of speed limits. Now, there are those that might say maybe more enforcement is the way to go, that there is a small cohort of speeders out there, because whilst it's shocking that 800 odd people are caught speeding during a national slowdown day, they do clock, well in excess of 100,000 people. So the majority of people are driving within the limits. So would it be better to enforce the current speed limits more and catch those that are flouting them? Or do you think it's right that all limits should be dropped because it saves lives? 0886 60 25,000. It could be in place by the end of 2024, early 2025, but it would be really, really significant in terms of, getting about the place. On to the Irish Times now, and Enoch Burke is due back before the courts again, it seems. A fresh application has been brought before the High Court that could see teacher Enoch Burke return to prison over his alleged ongoing refusal to stay away from Wilson's Hospital School in County Westmeath. During yesterday's vacation sitting of the High Court, lawyers representing the school's Board of Management said its client is seeking orders for Burke's attachment and committal to prison over his alleged refusal to comply with a permanent injunction granted by Mr Justice Alexander Owens earlier this year. The order restrains Mr Burke from attending at Wilson's Hospital unless he is given express permission to do so by school authorities. Rosemary Mallon for the board told Ms Justice Emily Egan that Mr Burke has attended at the school from where he was suspended and ultimately dismissed every day since the new school year commenced in late August. Mr Burke has claimed that the board's action against him arise out of his opposition to transgenderism and his deeply held Christian beliefs. The board denies that claim. Ms Mallon said that his attending both outside and inside the school was in breach of the permanent injunction granted by Mr Justice Owen. They went on to argue then too that the principal and all the teachers, much of their day is spent policing his movements, and there is some distress for pupils as well, but he's seemingly sticking to his guns. He went back to school and he's got quite a commute to go to school, and it looks like he'll end up going back to jail by the weekend. The Irish Daily Mail this morning, tensions have flared among councillors who voted against dozens of modular homes for over 200 Ukrainians, putting the government's refugee strategy under renewed pressure. It comes as hundreds of refugees are set to move into tents at the electric picnic site in County Laois after being forced to leave student accommodation. And organisers of the National Plowing Championship confirmed yesterday that they were approached by the government to provide tented accommodation for Ukrainians, as the Department of Integration desperately tries to source housing for people fleeing war-torn countries. Wicklow County Council this week voted against 2 sites chosen for 68 modular homes. Councillors were asked to vote whether or not to lease 1.82 hectares of land in Bolton Glass 4, and I'll just switch to page 4, for the development of 38 rapid build units, which could accommodate up to 152 people. They also voted on a 1.37 hectare site in Dunlavin, which would have seen 30 rapid build homes installed. It's funny, you've got like down south in Wicklow, you've got councillors voting against the construction of, a ton of rapid build modular homes, and then you move towards the northwest and you've got councillors' calls for this type of accommodation to be provided for defective concrete block homeowners falling completely on deaf ears. It's been completely ruled out. It's funny how, and I'm not conflating the housing crisis through defective concrete and the refugee crisis, but I'm just saying that in one county, you've got councillors voting against this type of housing for refugees, and then you've got councillors up here begging for this type of housing for people affected by defective concrete. It's a bizarre sort of comparison, or contrast maybe is a better word indeed. Okay. The Irish Sun this morning, the National Lottery isn't doing enough to protect problem gamblers, according to their regulators' findings. I don't think they're doing enough to stop encouraging gambling, because they push you quite a lot of notifications saying it's time to gamble. Well, in their annual report, the Lotto Watchdog withheld €150,000 from Premier Lotteries Ireland after they were found to be in breach of their licence. The office of the regulator found it was still possible for customers who had opted for permanent self-exclusion to purchase tickets by opening a separate account. The money which was withheld was subsequently returned to the Exchequer to be distributed to a number of good causes, so they need to be doing more. Do you have an issue in your home with problem gambling as it relates to the Lotto? Maybe it's a story you wish to share anonymously with us. You know the contact details, or if you wanted to send me a message on Facebook if you felt it was more confidential. Although it's not, please feel free to do so. We mentioned the National Plowing Championship. It's a huge event, isn't it? Well, the National Plowing Association has defended hiking at the gate ticket prices for this month's championship to €30. A lot of you out there go to the Ploughing Championships, have done religiously. Is €30 too much? It's a big show. There's a lot going on there. It's quite expensive when you get in there too. What do you think of €30 at the gate? It also warned visitors that they may not even be able to buy tickets on the gate. Cash tickets will only be for sale on the gate at the event, which takes place at in County Laois, of course, from September 19th to 2021, if there's a surplus. So in other words, if you go, right, I'm not buying my tickets in advance, I want to use cash. Well, you could rock up to the gate theoretically, and if they have sold enough online tickets, they don't have any other tickets available, they might actually refuse you entry, which is a bit coercive towards getting your tickets online in advance, isn't it? Well, punters can buy tickets online for €25 as organisers say they're moving more towards a cashless system. Anne-Marie McHugh, the MPA's Assistant Managing Director, said, "We've tried really hard for the general public to know that only surplus tickets will be available for €30 on the gate." So there's a €5 levy and the risk of not getting a ticket at all if you wish to use cash at the Ploughing Championships. Not reading the audience too well, I don't think. And the net could be closing ever tighter on the Kinahans. This is in the Irish Daily Star. Garda Commissioner Drew Harris and several top officers have jetted to Dubai as efforts intensified to deport mob boss Daniel Kinahan. It was confirmed yesterday. In a big development, Mr. Harris, Assistant Commissioner, of Organised Crime and Serious Crime, Justin Kelly, and a delegation of senior Gardaí met with Dubai Police this week to discuss the eventual deportation of Christy Kinahan Sr. and his sons Daniel and Christy Jr. It comes as Gardaí await a decision from the Director of Public Prosecutions on charges for all three Kinahans, cartel leaders, over directing a crime gang. So effectively, Mr. Harris seemingly over there to do the propriety work for their eventual deportation back to Ireland. It was recently confirmed that Gardaí had sent a comprehensive file to the DPP asking for Daniel Kinahan, his father Christy Sr. and brother Christy Jr. to be charged in connection with directing an organised crime gang. Encrypted conversations are understood to form part of the case, and Gardaí are hoping to prove in court that Daniel Kinahan directed the activities of the murderous gang. He's out there at the moment, setting the groundwork, presumably, for their extraditions. All right, that's a run through what's making the papers this morning. 086 60 25,000, 086 60 25,000, or give us a call on 074 91 25,000.
The newspapers are courtesy of Kelly Centra Mountaintop Letterkenny, the 2022 C-Store National Off-Licence of the Year.
The 9 till noon show in association with Fit20 Letterkenny. Get fitter and stronger in just 20 minutes. Train once a week with a personal trainer in a climate-controlled gym. Increase strength at any age. Visit fit20.ie to book your free session.
Welcome to the Spa at Orchids, one of Europe's largest spas at the Holyrood Hotel, Bundoran. Discover tranquility in our Japanese-themed garden, boasting 7 treatment rooms, seaweed baths, and a secret garden with an outside hot tub and sauna. Now, let me take you to the heart of Bundoran, where you'll find the Holyrood Hotel Spa and Leisure Centre. Don't miss out on our exclusive midweek hotel specials. More information at holyroodhotel.com.
Hip and knee pain can be debilitating. That's why at Kingsbridge Private Hospital, our orthopaedic surgeons offer a range of hip and knee surgeries and are ready to help get you back to doing what you love fast. Why wait? Find out more about our health insurance partners and cross-border healthcare options at kingsbridgeprivatehospital.com today.
At the Central Statistics Office, we're trusted to gather all sorts of information. So, we count exports, imports, airports and seaports. We count schools, pools and how many O'Tools? We count emissions, permissions and social conditions. We count beds, sheds and newlyweds. We count families, growing trees and diversity. Because this data informs important decisions on everything from economic activity to housing policy to what to call a new baby. And we can't do it without you. CSO. Count on us. We count on you.
Are you building a new home? Building requirements state that you must install a radon barrier. At FF Radon Systems, we supply and professionally install the fully certified barrier. For more information, call Liam at FF Radon Systems on 086 833 2749.
Highland Radio time checks with Expressway. Travel Route 32 from Letterkenny to Dublin when you book online and travel for less. Expressway, bringing you the time at...
The time is approaching 22 minutes past 9. Now we're joined on the programme by the Morgans, Joe Morgan, and Aoife is there as well. And unfortunately, I don't have everybody's name here, so you're going to have to introduce yourself.
Elaine.
Elaine, okay. Sorry about that. Sorry about that, Elaine. I just didn't have it here in front of me. I suppose we've come a bit of a distance in terms of trying to get people on a national scale to talk about this awful crisis. So it was good, I suppose, to see Primetime focusing on it again, once again, last night. Joe, starting with you first, if you don't mind. What was in the programme? What came from the programme? What stood out for you?
Yeah, I think, look, it was a difficult programme for ourselves personally, Greg, just relative to the actual activity that we were involved in. When Rita was up on site, we were taking the house down, so that was challenging. But I do think it's important that the stark reality of what families are facing is out there and that people understand it. The key reason that we wanted to participate is that, look, we have a scheme. So it's not 100%. It's not going to be 100%. The current government are not going to deliver that. So we are trying to work with what we have. And trying to move forward. But what we're finding, and it is our experience, and Donna McDade was the same, it's absolutely impossible to engage with the current scheme. Like, we still, whilst we have approval from the council to demolish the house and rebuild it, we don't have approval to draw funds from the scheme. So they call it stage 2 approval. And we've submitted all of the documentation, 160 pages of detailed data relative to that application. And we don't have it yet. That went in November. And we were told it was a 3-month timeline relative to application in to getting approval. So we didn't do anything over the Christmas period. And then we started to plan, because this is a construction product, right? We need to be able to plan. And unfortunately, right now, the cog in the wheel that we cannot plan for is the administration within Donegal County Council. And it's not just ourselves. There are a number of families commenting on social media over the last couple of months that there is nothing happening within the council. And I am on to them weekly. I've spoke to the front desk. I've emailed lead engineers. I speak to councillors regularly. And nobody can tell me what is happening internally with the administration of the scheme within the council. And nobody can tell me when I'll finally be able to access funds to rebuild the house. As of right now, we're stalled. The contractors had to go off site because he's not going to wait. And we're just waiting with no indication of when that stage 2 might come through.
It's completely open-ended then. There's nothing Absolutely. To indicate when. And then, of course, I presume then if you do get past that next stage, you have to find another slot with the contractor.
Absolutely, Greg. Yeah, I mean, everything is hinged now on that administrative step within the council. Even as far as conversations that we're having with our lender, the application process for finance needs that clarification from the council before they'll even start the discussion. So, one, we have had to let the contractor go, and I don't know when I'm going to get him back. Realistically, given we're going into the winter, it'll probably be next year now, and we could have had the entire summer to start activity. And then on top of that, we've a conversation to have with our lender, which we've been unable to start as well. So everything is stalled, and the council have to recognise they're a cog in a construction project. They need to be able to provide visibility and transparency as to what it is they're doing and how long it's going to take.
What percentage of a scheme do you think it is for you?
We're coming in at about 65%.
Wow. Elaine, this is all just stress on top of stress on top of stress, isn't it? I mean, this is only, another part of this nightmare that you've been living through.
Yeah, and I suppose like one of the stresses is finding out your house is defective block and you have to move out, and there's all of that stress. There's then the, as Joseph had said, we had to plan for all of this. So originally we were going to plan and move into a rented house last year, because my son was doing his leaving cert. We wanted a little bit of stability for him. But when we saw other homeowners being delayed, we were worried then if we moved to a rented house, we would have months and months of paying rent with not moving forward on the scheme. And I suppose that's where we decided to move to mobile homes. So the stress of getting the mobile homes, getting them connected, all of that groundwork took time. But I suppose then once we made the decision to move into the mobile homes and we were able to do something, you feel better being able to do something. And then sort of Aoife was starting secondary school. So lining all of that up in terms of being able to apply to local schools, make connections with bus. So all of that. And once we moved into the mobile homes, Greg, our attitude kind of changed a little bit. We didn't feel, we felt safer. We feel safer living in these mobile homes than we did in our big house. And we were a bit more happier, a bit more positive, and a bit better to deal with it. And we were excited at the prospect because we were originally starting the demolition in April. So we had that to look forward to. And since then, it's just been downhill. Since April, that timeline went, and we were like, okay, next one was May. That one went, and then sort of when we got the go-ahead says, right, well, if we pay for the demolition ourselves, we can go ahead. So that, again, was a little bit exciting. It's sad and exciting, but, we were moving forward. Now we're in limbo again, and it's this limbo that is the most stressful thing, facing into one winter. We're prepared for that. We can, the mobiles aren't going to be the warmest of places, but we can live with that for 1 year, but not having a timeline. We could be here how long? Nobody can tell us.
Yeah, I mean, Aoife, you've gone through two big changes, haven't you? You've gone through the change of, I presume you had your bedroom set up the way you liked it and you were in your house, and now you've had to switch to this type of living, and then switching from little school to big school, as some people might call it. How has it been for you, Aoife?
Well, on my first day of secondary school, I was extremely excited to, experience the new things and go into like the new classes. That was my favorite part, actually, going into like new classes and meeting new teachers like every like 40 minutes. But when I came home, it was just a really big shock that like my bedroom and most of my house was gone.
Yeah, really tough for you. And it's something obviously you have to think about a lot, Aoife, even though you're so young you shouldn't have to, but it's sad, isn't it? It's sad for you and the whole family.
Yeah.
Elaine, just what was the emotions like with the demolition? And we've heard from Aoife there, and we're a bit older, and I think maybe we have a bit more capacity, sort of, because life throws stuff at us, doesn't it? But it's a mixture of emotions, isn't it? Because getting it down means you're one step closer, but there's a lot of memories in there. There's a lot of life that's been lived in there. It just must be a nightmare to get the head around.
Back in March, we took a week off work, and that was our final, like, we've been preparing to move out since last year. So, we took everything down from the attic, and I don't know, our attic sort of like, I'd, sort of shoe boxes with photos and memories. I went through all of that because obviously moving to the mobile, there's not a lot of space, and we didn't have a lot of storage space either. So we all had to make decisions of what we were keeping, what was of value to us, and what we could give away, and what we needed to throw away, that we just would not have space to do that. So the whole family have had to do that. And that was quite traumatic, actually, to be honest with you. Like, that week off work was very traumatic, and moving down here. But, you get through it because, you're moving forward in that one there. And I thought, the house coming down, because I suppose we made the decision, look, the house is bricks and mortar, sort of, and our home is the mobile. So we have moved in that. So I was actually surprised by myself how brutal watching the house come down was. Yeah. I couldn't stand and watch it. It was brutal. Regardless of anything, even if it's just blocks, it was our home. So yeah, seeing the JCB coming in it. And again, sort of, Aoife would often say to me, this shouldn't happen. Yeah. This just should not happen. Why is this happening? We should not have to move out of our home and watch it be demolished because we've done nothing wrong.
Joe, like, it's very hard for anyone, I think, to keep track of all of this. So you're on the old scheme. Is it now the council moving you on to the new scheme? You've been approved. There's another body involved now that isn't the council, and what role do they have? I mean, is it clear at the moment what the hold-up is and where the hold-up is?
That's the problem, Greg. It's not, actually. And, I'm a project manager. My profession is project management. So, taking this on is not necessarily something that I would find as a challenge. However, all of the pieces that are outside of the council and on me to manage are all dependent now on what the council are doing. And I've had a lot of help, and I just want to call him out. Councillor Martin McDermott is doing as much as he can, and he does a lot of heavy lifting in terms of trying to get answers. But Councillor McDermott is not an administrator within the council. He's not responsible for administrating the scheme. And those individuals are not able to tell him when they're not able to tell him the timelines that are associated with these applications. Now, my gut is telling me that there are some IT challenges relative to the transition from the old scheme to the new scheme. But nobody's prepared to say it. Nobody's prepared, if that is the case, to put a timeline on how long that's going to take to resolve. And that's the key information, Greg. If I had information relative to there is a challenge internally within the council, whatever that might be, it's going to take 2 to 3 weeks to resolve, well, then I'll stop ringing the councillors, and I'll stop emailing the lead engineers, and I'll stop checking my phone every day for a notification from the council, and I'll leave it for that couple of weeks. But as of right now, there's no indication as to what the challenge is. Yeah. There's no indication as to why it will not be approved or has not already been approved. And until that happens, as I said, I can't do anything now. I can't speak to my lender to organise finance, and I can't speak to my contractor. He had to, his staff need to work, and I can't give them work because
and it's a fluid situation because we don't know what the story is in terms of lending, materials, contractors available. This is not just a case of wait 6 months. We don't know what could happen in that period, and this is why journalists do or should ask the tough questions, because you ask a politician, well, why did we do it this way? And they say, well, because we need to get this going. Because if we didn't do it this way, it would delay things. And what we need to do now, and I've got the quotes ringing in my ears, we need to start getting houses through this scheme and get people back into their houses. When you get criticised for trying to pin people down, just say, well, give us a date, or what do you mean by that? And the reason you ask those questions, and maybe it's not popular, is for families like yours, because you're hearing politicians say stuff like that, and it must be very curious as to, what's actually going to happen. Okay, 1 second. I just I think I have another call in here that's not supposed to be in here yet, so I'll just quit that one out here. Right, okay. So the point I was making, Joe, it must be very frustrating really for you guys when you hear politicians say, right, we're doing this so we can get things done more quickly.
Timeline. And again, this is not unique to ourselves. We submitted our first application to the defective concrete scheme in March 2021. That's nearly 2.5 years ago. And the second, and just as an FYI, in case some viewers don't understand it, most will, that application was inclusive of 200 pages of scientific input, structural engineering input, etc. So very, very comprehensive input to prove that we had a problem with the house and that we were eligible to get in the scheme. That was approved in about 6 months. The second stage, which was an additional 160 pages of detailed information and data points, that went in November. We're almost at a year now since that second application went in. I just do not get the fact that that cog, that very crucial, critical cog, which is outside of our control, which we cannot influence within the council, there's something broken in the council, that piece cannot move. And I just think, I know the council have gone into an emergency meeting this morning, or I think they're due to go into one at 11 o'clock. And I hope that something comes out of that in terms of homeowners that are sitting, waiting on information that cannot get it for the last 3, 4, 5 months, that there will be some form of announcement to let us know what's happening and when we can expect to get approval.
Just in relation to prime time, I didn't get to watch it last night for a number of reasons, but my understanding is Darragh O'Brien wasn't available to speak on the show, which, Elaine, it's really quite remarkable when we have a multi-billion euro scheme that, I mean, if you think it's a good scheme, you'd be screaming from the rooftops. But to not make yourself available for a significant programme like Prime Time on this issue, really, really quite telling, maybe even, bizarre to say the least, I think.
My 21-year-old daughter pointed that out to me, and she said, that is bizarre that they would not come on and give some explanation. I suppose as homeowners here, that's the message we've got from government, is they do not care. They don't care if we go out on the streets. They don't care if we're on prime time. They don't care if they see visuals of like Sharon Moss's house. They just do not care. They're okay with people living in those conditions. They're okay with ourselves, stressed to the hilt, trying to, get our home rebuilt. They come out with rubbish. They really, really do. And I have no faith in the government. They have so many opportunities to get this right. They did not listen to homeowners. They pushed through a bill in 2 hours with over 180 amendments. They do not care. They are doing what they want to do. They have the facts. We have been shouting at the top of our voices. They have a pyrite scheme in Leinster that is up and running, and it has different conditions than us in Donegal. They do not care.
Now, at this point, I should probably jump in to say, well, they do care because of. But if the housing minister himself is not going to pay devil's advocate for the scheme, really, how can I? Because I don't know what he thinks or what he feels or anything. Okay, Aoife, how is school going for you despite all the other stuff? It's a big change. You're enjoying it, though, I hope.
I am. I'm definitely enjoying it better than I ever did primary. it's so new and so different, but like in a good way. And like, even though everything's going on here, I feel like school is like my breaking away point.
That's your switch off time. You can get in there and think of other stuff. And you're the first year this year. Next year, it'll be a new crop of first years and you'll be old hat in the school then. Okay. Yeah. Listen, it's been lovely having you all on, particularly you, Aoife, because I haven't spoken to you before. Thank you so very much, Elaine. Joe, is there anything you want to add just as we wrap up? I want to make sure that you feel that you've touched on everything that you feel is important to say today.
Yeah, I think I have covered it, Greg. Look, I think there are lots of families out there who are trying to make the best they can of what is a flawed scheme. But now we're being held back more because the administration of the scheme just is not working. And I would implore those that are responsible for oversight within the council on the administration of the scheme to come out and be more transparent and give visibility to families who are already stressed, who just shouldn't be going through a state of limbo and, with no information whatsoever relative to when they can take the next step. That's the biggest, most frustrating piece for everyone. And we need the council to come out and correct that. I
just got a message here, Joe, as challenging it is for you as a family to be able to go through this system and make up the difference of a scheme which very recently we were told that it is a 100% scheme. There are people saying we're not even able to access it because they simply just don't have the wherewithal to do it. And victims of this type of a crisis should not be separated out like that. It's terrible, isn't it? We should all be equal, Elaine.
Absolutely. I mean, we think ourselves really lucky. Although all this happens, we always say to ourselves we're lucky because we have some savings, we've been able to borrow from family, and we are just of the mindset we need to get this done, so putting ourselves into debt has to be done, I suppose, but I absolutely, even sort of being able to get the mobiles and move out. Otherwise we would be living in that house still, and all of us felt unsafe in it. So we feel lucky that we're out of our house. We feel lucky that we're at the stage we're at.
Okay.
And Greg, just to add to that, it has been challenging, extremely difficult, and a lot of work to get to where we're at today. And to your point, there are vulnerable people out there, old age pensioners, people, potentially with mobility and disability type issues. I can tell you from my experience of getting us to where we are now, just in terms of getting mobiles put on site and having the house demolished, that is not an easy ask of people. And the fact that there's no end-to-end care for the vulnerable that are impacted by this crisis needs to change. That has to be addressed. There is no way vulnerable citizens are going to be able to take on what we've done and then the build afterwards.
Yeah, exactly. And your skill sets that you have as well worked in your favour as well, I'm sure. Okay, listen, thanks very much, Joe, Elaine, and you particularly, Aoife. Have a lovely day. Thank you so very much indeed. Okay, that was the Morgan family's situation. Keep your calls, comments coming into us 08660 25,000.
Watch the show live now on YouTube, Facebook and at highlandradio.com.
The 9 till noon show in association with Fit20 Letterkenny. Get fitter and stronger in just 20 minutes. Train once a week with a personal trainer in a climate-controlled gym. Increase strength at any age. Visit fit20.ie to book your free session.
To help with the cost of heating your home during the winter months, the fuel allowance scheme will be paid from the week beginning September 25th. This allowance is paid at a rate of €33 a week for 28 weeks. To find out more and check your eligibility, visit gov.ie/fuel allowance. The quickest and easiest way to apply is online at mywelfare.ie. One payment per household. A Government of Ireland initiative brought to you by the Department of Social Protection.
All you need to make your house a home at Patterson's The Hall Lifford. From garden furniture to kitchens, sofas and dining sets, all under one roof. Need a new mattress? Why not visit our sleep centre on the first floor? With a large range of quality beds and mattresses in stock and ready for collection or delivery. Relax in our coffee shop serving hot lunches daily. Open Monday to Saturday, 9 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. Patterson's Kitchens and Interiors, The Hall Lifford.
Sometimes what you want and what you can get are two very different things. But not this time. The MG electric range is here and available to drive away today. With up to €2,500 off our fully electric range, go MG in 23. Test drive at Connolly's MG, Collooney, Sligo, and recharge your soul. Offer available until October 14th. Terms and conditions apply. See mg.ie for details.
Do you currently have vacancies that need urgently filled? Have you tried various ways to find new staff but didn't succeed? Let Highland Radio help you source and fill your current vacancies in the most cost-effective way. Simply sign up to our new job spot and we will tell our listeners about your vacancies both on air and online. Every Monday, Wednesday and Friday during our primetime shows, we will broadcast the latest job opportunities across the Northwest and into counties Derry and Tyrone. All job listings will be available online at highlandradio.com. For more information, contact the advertising team on 07491 25322 or email advertising@highlandradio.com. Highland Radio, we're here for you.
Okay, we're going to stay with this issue because, as you heard a little earlier on, a series of meetings is taking place, information evenings being hosted by MAG, the Mica Action Group, which, it's worth pointing out, does not actually endorse this defective concrete block scheme as it stands, but I suppose it's the only show in town at the moment. Lisa Hone, Chair of MAG, thanks so much for joining us. I do appreciate your time.
Thanks, Greg.
The more I talk to people, Lisa, the less I got the impression that, you know, anyone feels that can either work with it at all or work within it. But be that as it may, it is what's there. And we're coming off the back of a very well-attended meeting in Greenon. In Bird on Greenon Hotel, wasn't it? That was in July. And there's a new series of meetings coming up now.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, we just felt there was a need. We were getting a huge amount of inquiries after the implementation of the scheme in early July. So we just felt there was a need to go and have a dialogue with homeowners and really put the information out there as best we could with the information that we had at the time in a very concise and clear-cut, easily digestible way, because that just wasn't out there. There was huge documentation out there, but it wasn't put in a format that kind of made it easier to people to get their heads around the scheme. And, you know, there was a huge turnout to that, which I think, you know, like we had sort of detected, obviously, from the information coming into us and the queries coming into us, that there just was not the clarity about how the scheme works that people need. Now, as we say, we do not endorse the scheme as it stands at the moment because there are fundamental issues around the science, around finance, around exclusions, around support, especially for the vulnerable, as Joe rightly pointed out. So, but in saying that, we are still getting a huge number of inquiries in terms of people trying to get their heads round how it does work at the moment. So what we're doing is, because we know that maybe everybody couldn't get to the meeting in July, we're going out to the community. We've tried to set up a series of meetings that hit a lot of the areas that we know are highly impacted. So trying to make it easy for people to get there. We will give them as clear-cut information as we have at the time. As Joe really rightly pointed out, there is still a lot of confusion. There is grey, you know, like the authorities who are implementing this scheme have a lot of answers to respond to questions to respond to right now. And that's, so we will do our best with the information we have. We constantly try and get the most up-to-date information. And we will try and give people a good insight to how it works.
So just not to go through it now, because there's different people in different areas that are all going to be there, and no one person's going to be across it all. But if someone is sitting there and the pennies dropped, they've got defective concrete blocks, there's cracks in the house, and they're going, right, there's a new scheme here, we need to get a test done. Like, is it, what is there a simple procedure that they can engage in now?
Yeah, the new scheme works differently. So effectively, you don't commission the full IS 465 engineer's report that was the previous entry to the old scheme. The way it works now is there is a document called a BCA, a Building Condition Assessment. And that can be done by what they call a competent building professional. And that's generally a certified engineer, architect, or surveyor. And the guidelines from the government are that BCA report should cost about 500 to 750. And it's almost like the very first assessment. If the engineer come out to your house with the previous scheme, it's like a visual assessment in terms of them noting down sort of, what damage they can see. They might measure cracks, and there's a set format that they had to put that information into, because effectively to gain entry to the new scheme, there's two elements. The first one is an administrative element. So you've got to tick all the boxes with regard to your eligibility, your circumstances, all the information that has to be supplied to Donegal County Council. That's the first thing. So that's the first one. And then the second thing is that you've got to fulfill the criteria of the BCA, and that is assessed by the housing agency. So if Donegal County Council deem you eligible from an administrative level, then they will be happy to look at the BCA report. The housing agency will be happy to look at the BCA report.
And is the BCA report based off the visual inspection, or at that point is it okay? It is, but that's basically where the damage threshold comes in, Greg. You've maybe heard me talk about that, the damage threshold, where there's a specific definition where they're looking for a particular pattern of cracking and a particular width, a minimum of 1 millimetre. And how do you find out who can do that for you, or how do you get someone around to your house?
Well, that is the $1 million question at the moment, and that is one of the big obstacles with regard to the new scheme. What the authorities, what government or the local authority or whoever have not engaged with those societies of surveyors, architects. It is basically, as far as we can understand at the moment, is basically down to the homeowner to go and find an engineer, a surveyor, an architect who will do the BCA. But what should have happened is there should have been a whole team of these type of building professionals who would have been trained, understand the scheme, understand the BCA, understand the issue. But that has not happened.
But if I wanted to get my house tested now, is there a list of people?
No, that it's one of the number one questions that we're getting right now is, who do I contact to get a BCA report done? So effectively, there's an obstacle straight off, because again, the work has not been done. The infrastructure has not been put in place to make it easy for homeowners to actually access the people they need to access to get over the first hurdle with regard to getting into this scheme. So it just goes back to this lack of organisation and not doing the work. And what if getting all the blocks in place to make this scheme work?
And what if I live in a council house and the corners are gone and there's damp in there's damp in the bedrooms and I can't get any meaningful interaction with the council? Is that separate because they're not private homeowners?
Yeah, I mean, effectively, the council should be dealing with their own social housing
stock. Yeah.
So the council, that will be their own scheme. Mm-hmm. They will handle that in their own way. Yeah. So the council, that is the contact point for anybody who's in social housing, who's dealing with this issue. Absolutely, go straight to the council.
All right. Okay. Right. So the meetings are taking place as follows: Monday, the 11th of September at 7 p.m. in the Mallinhead Community Centre. Tuesday, the 19th of September at the Rye Community Centre. Thursday, the 28th of September, 7 p.m. Greencastle Community Centre. Monday, the 2nd of October, 7 p.m. Jackson's Hotel Ballybofey. Tuesday, 10th of October, 7 p.m. Station House Hotel, Letterkenny. Monday, 16th October, 7 p.m. Inishowen Gateway Hotel, Buncrana. And all of these dates and times and venues will be on the MAG Facebook page, I've no doubt, and shared more broadly. But do you find these meetings are just they're important, but perhaps compound frustration? Because even the question as to how one might even get on the scheme or even begin the process of getting on the scheme, it's a convoluted process and a difficult question to answer.
Yeah, I mean, it's not ideal, Greg, but we are I think what we're trying to do is our best in very difficult circumstances.
It's not a criticism of MAG.
Yeah.
You can only explain the scheme as it is. It's not you can't change the scheme.
That's it. And I think it's important. I mean, I think what we're detecting is there's different sort of cohorts of people. There's people who have tried to engage with the scheme and they're trying to understand like where they go next. But what we've also found is there's a considerable number of people who I think have almost had this kind of on the long finger, knew that the new scheme was coming at some point and kind of thought, well, I'm going to wait until then. So there's a lot of people.
There's a third cohort There's a third cohort waiting to find out if foundations are going to be included.
Yeah.
And let me ask you: are in any great number houses being rebuilt under the old scheme or the new scheme if they've been moved over? Like, are there a series of houses being built at the moment through the defective concrete block scheme?
The majority of houses that have had remediation done to them are not option ones. The majority are, partial remediation, so to speak. I met for the first time somebody who's actually gone through the whole process. We were at the Clonmoney show, just making, actually giving publicity to the petition, which actually, if you've not signed it, the EU petition, please get online and please sign it. But effectively, he was the first person that I've met through talking to loads and loads of homeowners all the time. So that's one person that I know that's gone through the whole option one. Okay. The majority that have remediated houses are, like I say, partial remediations.
Okay.
But and the majority are, in terms of people who are in the scheme, they are either past, they've got a decision for stage one, or they're sitting with the housing agency. There's a very, very small number of homeowners who are trying to move beyond that into stage two, but they are in the likes of the Morgan situation where they are absolutely stymied at the moment because the administration just seems to be sort of grinding to a halt.
Very briefly, in 20 seconds, what did you think of the housing minister not defending his scheme last night?
I have to say it was totally and utterly predictable, because the silence since this scheme was unveiled and the 3rd of July from government has been absolutely deafening. Okay. And I think that speaks volumes. And can I just say, Greg, what we will be doing is we will be sending an invite to Dara O'Brien, all his officials and experts who were involved in the designing of the scheme, to come and attend one of these public meetings. And we will have a chair there for Dara O'Brien. It's absolutely, we will fit in with his schedule. We will reconvene a meeting if that has to happen, or he can attend one of these meetings. But it is absolutely abominable that they will not stand over the scheme that they have designed and answer the questions and concerns of the people who have to use it.
Thanks very much, Lisa. I appreciate your time. Take care. Lisa Hone there, back after the news.
The 9 till noon show in association with Fit20 Letterkenny. Get fitter and stronger in just 20 minutes. Train once a week with a personal trainer in a climate-controlled gym. Increase strength at any age. Visit fit20.ie to book your free session.
Take a step towards a new career at the Zeus recruitment event in Letterkenny this Saturday. Available positions include maintenance, electrical and machine shop technicians, process engineers, production operators and quality inspectors. Meet hiring managers and speak directly to the company to find out what's on offer. All at the Zeus recruitment event this Saturday the 16th from 10 to 4 in the Clanry Hotel, Letterkenny.
These days, we're all looking for healthy, tasty family meals and lots of variety. The good news is that our fishermen continue to bring us the best of the catch, like fresh Irish hake and haddock. There are so many ways to enjoy them. Try delicious Thai curry with hake or mouth-watering Cajun seasoned haddock. For lots of tasty recipes and different meal ideas, visit boardbeer.ie and look out for Irish hake and haddock next time you're shopping. Fresh ideas, great meals.
The new Corolla Hybrid Electric range is here, and the Corolla Cross SUV is the latest addition to the iconic family. Spacious and beautifully designed, it's perfect for growing families everywhere. And it's available to order now at Kelly's Toyota Letterkenny and Mount Charles. With exceptional electric drive time and no plugging in, the next generation is ready to take over. See the new Corolla Cross today at Kelly's Toyota Letterkenny and Mount Charles. Toyota, built for a better world. Terms and conditions apply.
Are you worried about trees on your property? Northwest Forestry Services Ballybuffet are fully insured and have over 40 years experience in dangerous tree removal, tree felling, surgery and stump grinding. For peace of mind, call Northwest Forest Services Ballybuffet for a no obligation quotation on 913233.
The 9 till noon show in association with Fit20 Letterkenny. Get fitter and stronger in just 20 minutes. Train once a week with a personal trainer in a climate-controlled gym. Increase strength at any age. Visit fit20.ie to book your free session.
Do you need a UK address? Save hundreds of euros on custom charges shopping online with Space Hub Dairy. We provide a full virtual office address mailbox service for all your business and personal use. Save your business hundreds, possibly thousands on custom charges with Space Hub Dairy. Call 048 7187 8077 for more details.
Enter the Virgin Media Playhouse and unleash our best offers. It's time to play with our €100 gift voucher to spend your way when you choose full fibre 500 meg broadband for just €39 a month for 12 months and no activation fee. So switch today at virginmedia.ie. Virgin Media. It's playtime.
T's and C's apply. See virginmedia.ie. Subject to location and availability. New customers only. 12-month contract. 500 meg broadband. €70 thereafter. Ends October 11th, 2023.
Planning is underway for a National Centre for Research and Remembrance that will honour survivors and former residents of institutions such as industrial schools, Magdalen laundries, mother and baby and county home institutions and reformatories. If you spend time in one of these institutions, or you are a relative or an advocate of someone who did, your voice is vital in the development of this centre. Visit gov.ie/National Centre by September 15th to share your thoughts. Brought to you by the Government of Ireland.
Are you building a new home? Building requirements state that you must install a radon barrier. At FF Radon Systems, we supply and professionally install the fully certified barrier. For more information, call Liam at FF Radon Systems on 086 833 2749.
Sheridan Security, now introducing Zero Wire Smart Alarm Systems. Zero wire, zero mess, and a real peace of mind. With a simple press of a button, your alarm can be set or unset, or download the free app and control it from your phone. Call us today on 074 912 6025 and get your alarm from €299. Stay local, stay safe, and protect what you value most with Sheridan Security Systems.
Live, on air, online and on the Highland Radio app. This is Highland Radio News.
Good morning, it's 10 o'clock. Donald Kavanagh at the news desk. A defective block homeowner who was living in a mobile home with his family after the recent demolition of their house in Donegal says they are now stalled in limbo because while they've been told they had clearance to demolish and rebuild by Donegal County Council, delays in changing from the old defective block scheme to the new scheme means they still haven't been cleared to draw down funding. Joe Morgan featured on a primetime television programme last night with his family, and this morning he spoke to Greg on the 9 till noon show.
The cog in the wheel that we cannot plan for is the administration within Donegal County Council, and it's not just ourselves. There are a number of families commenting on social media over the last couple of months that there is nothing happening within the council, and I am on to them weekly. I've spoke to the front desk, I've emailed lead engineers, I speak to councillors regularly, and nobody can tell me what is happening internally with the administration of the scheme within the council, and nobody can tell me when I'll finally be able to access funds to rebuild the house. As of right now, we're stalled. The contractors had to go off site because he's not going to wait, and we're just waiting with no indication of when that stage 2 might come through.
2 men are due in court in Dungannon today, charged in connection with the murder of a Strabane man in Castlederg at the weekend. With more, here's Donna Marie Doherty.
Detectives investigating the murder of Conor Brown in Castlederg on Saturday have charged 2 men. The men aged 27 and 28 are both charged with murder. The 28-year-old is further charged with possession of an offensive weapon with intent to commit an indictable offence. They are expected to appear before Dungannon Magistrates Court later today. 2 other men men aged 28 and 31 have been released following questioning, and a file will be submitted to the Public Prosecution Service.
It's emerged an 8-year-old girl who drowned off the coast of Cork had been swept from shallow waters by a freak wave. The tragic incident happened at Fountainstown Beach near Crosshaven yesterday afternoon. Emergency services began a search operation. Her body was recovered last night. The editor of Cork Bio, Joe O'Shea, says the girl and her family lived in the local Crosshaven area.
This young girl, her family originally, we believe, from Eastern Europe. They had gone to the beach after school. She was in school in Crosshaven, a national school. She was playing with a group of friends in shallow water, close to the water, when basically a large wave hit them. They were kind of dragged out a bit.
Donegal County Council is set to get a budget boost of at least €1.5 million from the Department of Housing and Local Government. A memo going to Cabinet will confirm more than €75 million in additional funding for the day-to-day running of council areas. It's part of a revision of the distribution of money from local property tax collections. Major changes are on the way for speed limits on Ireland's roads. They're set to reduce on national secondary roads from 100 kilometres an hour to 80. They'll go from 80 to 60 on rural and local roads and 30 kilometres an hour in residential areas in towns and cities. Junior Transport Minister Jack Chambers believes while the changes are radical, they are necessary.
We've seen a shocking rise in fatalities and a really worrying trend with an increase in 3 of the last 4 years. 127 people have lost their lives so far this year, which has caused absolute devastation for families, and I think many tragedies which have shocked the nation. And as Minister, I want to bring initiative and a comprehensive response.
Meanwhile, a Northern Inishowen councillor says lives are being put in danger because hedges can't be cut. Councillor Mark McDermott is calling for a review of the current policy, which prohibits hedge cutting between the end of March and the start of September. He says flexibility is needed where overgrown hedges are impacting road visibility. Councillor McDermott says overgrown hedges are also hampering efforts to promote the Inishowen 100.
If you take the Inishowen 100, where you're trying to get visitors to travel on, to stay on, to spend time on, those roads are extremely dangerous. And the other aspect of that is that the beauty that we have around the coast is not able to be seen no more because you're not even allowed to cut those hedges. You can't. People don't even see the beauty that they want to see around the Inishowen 100.
And the CEO of Inclusion Ireland says they were saddened and shocked, but not surprised by revelations in the latest report from the Ombudsman for Children. The Nowhere to Turn investigation found children with disabilities were being left in inappropriate healthcare settings because proper respite services were not available to them. One child spent 2 years in hospital, even though they didn't need medical treatment because there was nowhere else for them to go. The head of Inclusion Ireland, Derval McDonough, says families are facing heartbreaking situations because the right services simply aren't there.
Can you imagine the desperation of a mother and a father bringing their child to an A&E, the child who's not medically unwell but who might be distressed and needs support? Imagine what that takes, and the fact that this is what our system does to children and their families right now.
Well, the forecast and Met-Éireann tell us to expect a warm and humid day with spells of sunshine, largely dry, but a few showers will develop, some of them possibly heavy and thundery. Top temperatures 22 to 26 degrees Celsius in a moderate southerly breeze. Warm and humid tonight with clear spells and a few showers, some possibly heavy and thundery once again. Lowest overnight temperatures 14 to 17 in a light to moderate southeast breeze with some mist or fog patches. And that's Highland Radio News. We're back with news headlines again at 11 o'clock. Good morning. The obituary notices for this Wednesday morning, the 6th of September. The death has taken place of Anne Detta Brown, née McMonagle, 125 Cregan Road, Derry, formerly of St Francis Terrace. Her remains are reposing at her home. Funeral from there tomorrow morning at 11 for 11:30 Requiem Mass in St Eugene's Cathedral. Interment afterwards in the city cemetery. Family time please from 10 p.m. to 11 a.m. Family flowers only please, donations in lieu if desired to the Foyle Hospice. The death has occurred of John Worski, Birdstown, Burnfoot, reposing at his home. Removal from there tomorrow morning at 10:15, going to St Angus's Church, Burt, for 11 o'clock Requiem Mass, followed by interment in Burt Cemetery. Family time please from 11 p.m. and on the morning of the funeral. Family flowers only please, donations to the Donegal Hospice, care of any family member or Murphy Funeral Directors. The death has occurred of Niall Green, Meanmore Dunlow, reposing at the family home. Rosary at 8 o'clock this evening and 9 o'clock tomorrow evening. Funeral Mass on Friday morning at 11 in St Cronus Church, Dunlow, with interment afterwards in Mahari Cemetery. Family time, please, from 10 p.m. to 10 a.m. and strictly private to family only, please, on the morning of the funeral. The death has taken place of Peter Gavigan, Structor, Kilrain, Glenties. Peter's remains will repose at Shovelin's Funeral Home, Sandfield, today from 4 until 7:30, followed by removal to St Connell's Church, Glenties, arriving at 8:30. Funeral Mass tomorrow morning at 11, with burial afterwards in the local cemetery. And the death has taken place of Patrick McLaughlin, 26, Fernhill, Letterkenny, and Skelpie, Castlefin. His remains are reposing at his mother-in-law Tulip McCrory's residence at Skelpie, Castlefin. Funeral from there this morning at 11:30, going to St Columba's Church, Donnyloop, for Requiem Mass at 12 noon, with burial afterwards in the adjoining cemetery. Family flowers only, please. Donations, if desired, to St Vincent de Paul, Castlefin, care of Kennedy's Funeral Directors, Castlefin. Family time, please, before the funeral this morning. For more details, including any family health guidelines for wakes and funerals, please go to highlandradio.com.
Apply online for learner permit and driving licence services, including renewals, updates, exchanges and replacements. It's easy and hassle-free. Visit NDLS online today at ndls.rsa.ie. Verified MyGov ID required. A message from the Road Safety Authority.
The county's #1 talk show, the 9 till noon show on Highland Radio.
And you're very welcome back to the programme. Now, the programme this week is being brought to you in association with Fit 20, and we're giving you the chance to win 3 months membership so you can get stronger in just 20 minutes with Fit 20. Train once a week with a personal trainer in a climate-controlled gym. Now, all you have to do to be in with a chance to win that membership is to be a daily winner, and then all the names go into a hat on Friday. And that 3 months membership then will be given to the lucky name coming out of the hat. Here are the numbers. Here is a reminder of the competition and the question.
On this week's show, with thanks to Fit 20, we're giving you the chance to win a 3-month membership. Get stronger in just 20 minutes with Fit 20. Train once a week with a personal trainer in a climate-controlled gym. To win this prize, simply answer a question each day. An overall winner will then be selected on Friday. Now, here is today's question. If you were in Times Square, would you be in A, New York, or B, Dublin? Text or WhatsApp your answer, name and address to 086 60 25,000.
And I'll give you a further reminder a little later on in the programme. Right, some of your comments here. Let us all remember the behaviour of certain politicians when the elections come around and ignore those who ignore the people at their time of greatest need. Another, until there's a change of government, nothing will change. Greg, heartbreaking listening to the Morgan family talking about the Mica experience. As an affected homeowner who has lived with this nightmare for 10 years, I've decided to not continue to fight for the scheme and just to try to live life and walk away from it. My house is not bad, in inverted commas. So after being in limbo for too long for my mental health, I just have to forget about Mica and carry on. Can you imagine? They're just effectively saying, this is the state of the house and this is what I'm going to live in. And I really get that, actually. I can imagine it, because for 10 years it's been ever present in your life. But it's a sorry state of affairs that you should have to feel like that. It really is. A caller says, once it's been confirmed your house has Mica, what way does that affect your home insurance? Will you still get cover? I think you get certain types of cover. I don't know the ins and outs, and it's going to vary from company to company, but someone out there might be able to let us know. But I think you might be able to get certain types of cover and not others. But as I say, there's people out there will know, and I'm sure will let us know. The silence from our local councillors and TDs is deafening. I'd love for them to prove me wrong by coming on air to explain what they're doing day in and day out to help the people. Well, they will say the councillors are meeting in an emergency session today to discuss the issue. But the caller goes on to say they probably won't, as politics seems to be more about strategically dodging issues while trying to keep your seat instead of helping the public you represent. Also, the red tape around the scheme's disgraceful, and local council support seems to be lukewarm at best. History will not judge our reps kindly as people's homes crumble around them through no fault of their own. Shame on our elected reps. Thank you, Highland, for continuing to highlight this serious issue. And I mean, people might say, well, a councillor could do this or that or vote a certain way on a certain issue, like votes of no confidence and what have you. But a lot of councillors are working very hard on this issue and working with people on the ground all the time. And I'm saying that in the interests of absolute fairness. But then, of course, then there's the executive, which is having to administer what the council is having to administer in this new scheme. They're facing their own challenges in terms of staffing, having to go through each individual application in the old scheme to move them to the new scheme. They said in a press release that, of course, is going to take time. So, as I say, I'm not here to defend any individual or any organisation, but in the interest of fairness, like I know personally, there are a lot of councillors that are heavily invested in this issue and do help people, but there is only a certain amount in terms of actually progressing it that they can do. I'm sure they would say if they were on the radio themselves, and they do. They don't shy away from the issue if we invite them on. In fairness, I couldn't point to any individual that has. They are willing to discuss the issue. Where is Minister Charlie McConnell? Hope the people of this country or this county remember how he had failed the people of Donegal along with all the other government representatives. Again, just to be fair, on the Mica issue, there are those in the farming industry, the fishing, coastal communities that may believe that he's delivering for them. Hi, Greg. The quicker the Irish people wake up to this government and get them out of power, the better. They're bringing in new laws every month. It's coming to a stage in Ireland. They are going to be, there's going to be no living. It's no wonder so many young people are getting out of it. Sitting on the Malin Road, Moville, waiting on the lights to change, just observed two lorry drivers, one young girl on their phone driving up the main street. We need no marked Garda cars on the road 24 hours and treble the fines, that caller believes. Driving up and down to Mayo every weekend, at least 14 years now, and haven't seen a checkpoint once apart from the COVID checkpoints. Yeah, a lot of people report similar there. On the issue of speeding, saw a speed van recently on the Lifford Road, Stranola, near St Joseph's, a Sunday, I think. It was practically hidden, but in an area to capture revenue, in my opinion. A caller says it's not the people who are adhering to the current speed limits that are causing the problems, it's those who don't. If there's no enforcement, it doesn't matter what the limits are. It'll only affect the current compliant. Just look at all the illegally modified cars, yellow back number plates, lowered suspension, darkened windscreen, etc. Blatantly, obviously illegal. No enforcement. They'll do anything but spend on resources. Did they not just double the fines for speeding? Another, the road tragedies have been awful, but long journeys, example Glenties to Dunlow at 60, will be much too slow. I think it will make people take more risks, especially when it comes to overtaking. It's a difficult one, and as I say, it is complex because on the face of it, if you read the papers, you would believe that every speed limit is going to go downwards, but it is the base point is going down, and then there can be variance. How much the councils might vary from that guidance from the government, we don't know. How stupid of our government? Can they not see the big mistake they're making by reducing the speed and also the signs that will have to be changed? Well, listen, I accept that. Obviously, we have to do something to address the crisis on the roads. And this is not an argument against lowering the speed limits, but close your eyes and think, what was one of the big key points that Eamon Ryan says we need to do to reduce fuel consumption, to make our cars more economical, to stop burning more fuel. Last year, the year before, huge advocate of reducing speed limits. And it wasn't for safety at that time, if my memory serves me correctly. It was about the environment. So some out there might feel, and I'm not saying it's the case, and I'm not arguing against the dropping of speed limits, but some might say you don't waste a crisis, and you use one issue, sometimes it can benefit you in another area, i.e. meeting climate targets, because if cars generally slow down, the emissions will go down as well. A caller says the new speed limits are a joke. What's the point in it? People who are already speeding will speed. You can drive from here to Cork and you won't meet a guard. Hi, Greg. Is this not the time to consider a new minor injuries unit for Carndonagh when we have X-ray facilities now planned 5 days per week? People of Inishowen deserve closer facilities to get treatment rather than travelling to Letterkenny and sitting for hours in a heavily congested ED. Guards need to intervene at situations at Larky Brack School where people are doing U-turns exiting the school pickup area to go towards the town again. It's extremely dangerous and is an annihilation waiting to happen. Yeah, I think, I mean, we'd all fear that. I know exactly where and what you're talking of. And on it goes. Thank you so much for keeping us so busy on our phone and text lines. 086 60 25,000. 086 60 25,000 is what there is a slight issue with one of the numbers on our graphics. I will get that changed. But anyway, our number is 086 60 25,000. That's for WhatsApps or text. So you can give us a call on 074 91 25,000. Good luck if you're playing bingo today.
It's time for NCBI Bingo on Highland Radio.
It's Wednesday the 6th of September. You're playing on the blue sheet. The reference number is S18. It's game number 36. The numbers are 51, 87, 65, 57, 13, 33, 35, 40, 45, and finally 10. Phone your claim to 9104833 before 8 tonight, leaving your name, contact number and the name of the shop where you purchased your book, and we'll call you back the next working day. Get all your NCBI bingo information at highlandradio.com.
If the medical experts get it wrong, everything changes. From misdiagnosis or delayed diagnosis to surgical injury or even poor treatment, all have physical, emotional and financial consequences. We're here to help. So if your treatment didn't go according to plan, speak to our experienced medical negligence team at McElhenney and Associates. Find us online or call 074 917 5989. McElhenney and Associates Solicitors, Stranorlar. In contentious business, a solicitor may not calculate fees or other charges as a percentage or proportion of any award or settlement.
Thinking of changing your floors? Why not see what Floor at Letterkenny has to offer? Floor have a large selection of solid, semi-solid and laminate click vinyl wood flooring, together with a fantastic choice of parquet, herringbone flooring, all at incredible value. Don't delay. Call Floor today on 087 161 7008.
The 9 till noon show in association with Fit20 Letterkenny. Get fitter and stronger in just 20 minutes. Train once a week with a personal trainer in a climate-controlled gym. Increase strength at any age. Visit fit20.ie to book your free session.
Okay, we read out and talked about some figures from yesterday, but I think so significant that I just didn't want to park it at that, because we learned that 1/4 of primary-aged children and 40% of secondary-aged pupils in Ireland have experienced cyberbullying. The latest report from CyberSafe Kids shows girls are more likely than boys to be victimised online, with the posting of pictures without permission, creation of fake social media profiles and exclusion from chat groups, the most commonly experienced forms of online abuse. 1/4 of primary-aged children, as I said, and 40% of secondary-aged pupils in Ireland have experienced that cyberbullying. Philip Arneil is head of Education and Innovation and joins us now. Good morning. Thank you so very much indeed. I mean, these figures really paint a really sad and pressured picture for our young people, Philip.
They do, absolutely. And I think probably what is sad is that these are not new figures. These are figures that we've been reporting on for 5 or 6 years now, and they don't change dramatically, to be perfectly honest. So I think really the time has come to not only acknowledge them, but to really tackle these problems. You know, to think that almost a quarter exactly of 8 to 12-year-olds have already experienced cyberbullying is shocking. And it's just important to clarify that that's not just cyberbullying. It's actually potentially more than one type of cyberbullying. So when we survey these children anonymously, we give them a list of possible behaviours that they might have experienced. So they could, in actual fact, tick multiple types of cyberbullying.
And we're pretty much are we at maximum smart device ownership now? 93% of 8 to 12-year-olds have access to a smart device. 31% say they're allowed to go online whenever they like and play, presumably with whoever they like, interact with whomever they like. These are 8 to 12-year-olds.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, really, at that age group, there really shouldn't be any time they're going online unsupervised or unmonitored. And I think also it's worth drawing attention to the fact that that age group in particular, 84% of them have their own social media account, 37% with a TikTok account, 37% with a Snapchat account. Now, obviously, if you're familiar with social media platforms, you'll know that the minimum age restriction is 13. So already they're 84% of that cohort online and on social media platforms, which are, of course, not designed for children, well before they should be on there. So, and with that 31% having unrestricted access, 15% of that number also report that they have no rules when they go online. So it's really, it's not a great picture, to be perfectly honest, because as we know, the online world and the internet in particular was not designed for children.
Yeah, and parents and guardians, caregivers could do themselves a favour and check their children's TikTok account and check how many times maybe their videos have been favorited or bookmarked, and then ask themselves perhaps, well, why has that happened? Because there's an awful lot of very nasty people in that space.
Absolutely. I mean, it's really important that parents are supervising and monitoring their children's online activity. But I think it's not just from the bottom up. Education is important. We're going into schools, we're going into workplaces, and we're educating kids and parents. But it's also important that this change is coming from the top down. It's important that there's sufficient regulation and legislation, particularly around social media platforms, because, we're hearing often year in, year out, these record profits are being reported. And yet we're also told that there are sufficient safeguards in place around age restrictions. But these statistics here that we reported yesterday would beg to differ. Whatever kids are doing, they're getting around these minimum age restrictions. And obviously, if kids are smart enough to figure out what year to put in to indicate that they're 18 years old, then they're immediately able to access whatever content they like on a lot of these platforms.
Do we not really need to hold a mirror up to ourselves, though, here and sort of say, and I don't know what the breakdown might be, but for me, it feels like, it's 90% our responsibility and 10% of the social media companies' responsibilities. I mean, there's an awful lot more they could do, but we're giving in. We're all giving in. 93% of us allow 8 to 12-year-olds to have access to a smart device of others. Now, I presume they're not all mobile phones and tablets. I presume the likes of a Switch is in there. Anything internet connected. Am I correct in assuming that?
Yeah, a smart device we're defining as anything connected to the internet. So tablets, very popular. Games consoles are very popular. And then you see, predictably, you see that level of smartphone ownership increase. I mean, I understand what you're saying about, parents and caregivers being responsible, but I don't think it's as simple as that. I think there's got to be legislation. That the fact that these social media companies exist and that they're putting out these platforms and kids are getting on them, that's not something that can be ignored. And it's really important that we are tackling it, I think, from both ends of that spectrum to ensure that kids, when they go online, whatever age that might be, that they're having a positive and beneficial experience and not something that's negative or indeed in some cases going to, traumatize them and affect them later in life. And we see that already from these kind of cyberbullying statistics that we've reported. None of this can be having a good effect on kids' mental health.
No, I'm not saying it's not without dangers, but the likes of Sony and the PlayStation and the Xbox, they do have really quite intelligent systems to flag bullying or bad language or certain trigger words or phrases, and you can get a sharp ban there really quite quickly. I don't think we're going to ever see that from your Snapchats and your TikToks. So the only solution is photo ID. That you only can register with photographic ID, because that's the only thing that's going to protect our children.
Well, yes, I mean that may well be true, and there are obviously certain concerns around privacy, and this has been floated in the UK, for example, around using pornographic websites. But I do think it's not a case of we just let the social media companies do what they want to do, or we bring in photographic ID recognition. I mean, there is sophisticated work going on around age verification, and so that may come. But in the meantime, reality right now is that Philip, kids are on here, so we've got to educate kids.
The biggest porn site in the world's X, formerly Twitter, and you can peruse that with not even signing in. Anything you want to find is there. So we're so far back. Maybe I'm a little frustrated and not certain with you, Philip, but I've been having these conversations for a long time, long before a lot of the social media that's there. That when it wasn't there. So I just feel that how many children are being very severely harmed whilst us adults are sort of, arguing the case of what we should do. We just need to do something. Not me and you again. Don't get me wrong. It's not. I'm not putting this on you, Philip. But do you sort of get where I'm coming from?
Absolutely. I mean, believe me, we share your frustration. Year in, year out, we're reporting these statistics, and yet we don't see sufficient action being taken. For example, even the difficulties now of getting content, and we're regularly contacted by schools. We're regularly contacted by distraught parents who have found accounts online either criticizing or bullying their children. In some cases, accounts created in that person's name and posting, and they just have no channels. They have no way to get this content down. Now, obviously, Ireland is making good steps. We've got the Online Safety Commissioner's Office. The online safety codes are being worked on at the minute, and we're really hopeful that this will also include eventually an individual complaints mechanism, which will then give users like yourself, like me, like all the parents that are frustrated out there with their children being on here and making mistakes, which children will do, to actually get a lot of this content taken down, and also then hold these companies to account. There would be financial penalties that would kick in very quickly. They would have to legally remove this content much, much faster and much more efficiently than they currently do.
But that's complicated as to where they're based, though, and where they have head offices, and then of course there's VPNs, and it's. I've no doubt there's 12, 13, 14-year-olds know very easily how to stick a VPN on their phone as well.
Absolutely, yeah. Which is why I think also education is really an important part of this picture. So we don't see it. There's no silver bullet here. There's no magic fix. So a big part of our work is educating children, because the reality is we go into primary schools. We don't tell the kids off. We don't wag our finger at them. We say, look, we know from your survey that you're already online. So there is definitely a part to be played where we can actually teach kids, if they are on there, how at least they can minimize these risks, how they can mitigate against these risks. And similarly, part of that is educating parents, this idea of supervising, monitoring your kids. And actually, more than anything, the important thing for parents is just to talk to their kids to find out what they're doing, because what we get is a lot of feedback from parents where they say, well, look, I don't know what they're doing. I'm completely overwhelmed. But there's very few parents would say to you, I just send my kids out to the park. I don't really know where they are. Or, they haven't come back all day, but I'm not really sure what they're up to. Or send them off to the cinema to see, an 18 and over film, for example. So I think we've got to also tackle this idea that somehow being in the house and being online and having a device is somehow safer. It's really not.
But we have to talk about, though, Philip, what's driving young people online. It's to go viral. It's to be YouTube famous. It's to be TikTok famous. It's to get as many hearts or likes or reposts as you can possibly get. It's your view count on a certain video. And if they go into that space, you can't really hold them back for that. You say, well, why are you making that video? And they go, oh, well, I've got a private group of friends and I'm sending that. But they're probably not, because the hunger for that recognition is so strong, and it's been tailored in such a way that they'll probably tell you anything just to be able to do it. So we have to try and battle that, and I don't see how we win that battle unless, and I really hate over-regulation and overreach and Big Brother stuff, unless people have to prove with identity what age they are.
Yes, but the problem that you're describing there is not actually unique to children and young people. Adults are in exactly the same situation. We're all sucked into this algorithm. We all want the likes. We all want the comments. We all want the posts and the reshares. So I think there's a bigger societal picture. And one of the things that we really want to push is this idea of societal norms around what is acceptable and what is not acceptable. If you draw analogies with the physical world, things like seatbelts, for example, it's shocking now if you get into a car and someone's not wearing a seatbelt. But, the internet is relatively young. It seems like it's been with us forever, but we've got to start kind of pushing these norms. We've got to push this balance. We've got to push this idea of digital health. Mm-hmm. And I think it will come, but it is unfortunate at the moment we're all in that situation. And I think as well as just regulation, I think also what we can do is model that behavior. If we're not doing it, and then we're telling children or we're telling pupils to do it, how effective is that messaging? So it's also on adults and as a society for us to model that behavior that we expect to see in children when it comes to their online behavior. Yeah,
but that's a little bit like trying to help your children with their homework when you have no clue that you didn't, you left school early. Like the problem here is, yes, it's new. Google, I think, is actually 25 years old today. But, parents, guardians, they don't understand the space of a full sense of what's going on to go in and help and police it. That's the issue, and I think the majority of people don't.
Well, yeah, but I mean, if I don't know how to drive a car, I still know that there are various dangers that come with driving a car. And I think, parents can, and this is one of the things that we try to signpost in our parent sessions and our adult sessions. There's a wealth of great resources out there, things like Peggy website, Common Sense Media, Common Sense Education. So you don't have to be a TikToker, you don't have to be a YouTuber, but you can go and watch an explainer video or read a couple of pages on a website that will tell you straight away and demystify what these apps are, what they're doing. And also the other way to do that, of course, is to talk to your kids. Get your kids to show you what they're doing. Get them to explain why it's popular, what's trending at school, what kind of games people are playing, and whether you're into it or not. I mean, I know this, we all know this. I grew up listening to music that my parents hated. They didn't understand, and so it's a similar thing. So I think it's about informing yourself to a level where at least you can have a conversation with your kids. And then, of course, if you have this open dialogue and you have these channels open with your children, then you're in a position when obstacles do arise, when problems do occur, that you can mitigate those and you can help them with that much easier. Because we know, obviously, by hiding these problems and trying to push them underground, the kids are only going to get themselves into a stickier situation in the long run.
So we've got our responsibilities, the social media companies do, and the state does as well. There obviously are trials and there's conversations and talk. Is it time now that smart devices are banned from primary schools and even secondary schools up to 16 or something like those? Just get them out of that system.
Well, I mean, I think it's a complex picture. I was a teacher myself, so I've seen a lot of benefits of using phones and tablets and different kinds of educational technology within the classroom, and I think that's a really positive picture, actually. But I understand also this idea, and we've seen in Ireland now there are some voluntary bans, and there's some movements within different counties and different schools to at least encourage parents and to encourage each other to hold back on smartphone use. And I think certainly that's got to be a good thing, because probably what separates the tablet and the games console in particular is the mobility of the smartphone. And obviously once kids have got a smartphone, it really does open up a whole different world in terms of the access to content that they have, because they're out of the house, they're connected constantly. And so we would say certainly in terms of the smartphone, whether or not you ban them or not, it's definitely a good idea to try and hold back as long as possible. We find that what seems to have become the norm now is this idea that maybe around communion, kids get their first phone. But, as long as possible, it's worth holding off as parents and caregivers, because even with something like social media accounts, if your child's not yet 13, they shouldn't be on there anyway. So things like that are not even an argument to getting a smartphone from a child or young people, but they're under a lot of peer pressure too. And we understand that as well. A lot of kids look around, they see people with other stuff, they see people doing other things. And so they're feeling that pressure as well to be part of that and not to be excluded.
Yeah, it's a tough area. Philip, thanks very much for your time. I do appreciate it. It's been very nice speaking to you, and it's an interesting survey and one we should all take note of, I think. Philip Arneal there, who is Head of Education and Innovation with Cyber Safe Kids. Any views on that? 08660 25,000. A listener says, I have a 14-year-old daughter who has been bullied since last year. It started offline, leaving her out in the yard, name calling, and now it started online. It's horrendous. She sits in the toilets at lunch. To see your daughter pick up the phone, tears forming, and to be physically sick reading comments about her. The school will not get involved and haven't once contacted parents and children. I've now taken it to the Gardaí, who are also shocked at the behaviour of the school. It's her mental health I worry about. We say things like things will make you stronger, but I'm no longer seeing my daughter I once knew because these girls are breaking her. And breaking mum too, or dad too, by the sounds of it. Very, very difficult for you. Try not telling children that their very existence pollutes the planet. They might improve. That might improve their mental health. I think it's more our existence that's destroying their planet. But anyway, I take your point. Thank you for that.
Watch the show live now on YouTube, Facebook and at highlandradio.com.
The 9 till noon show in association with Fit20 Letterkenny. Get fitter and stronger in just 20 minutes. Train once a week with a personal trainer in a climate-controlled gym. Increase strength at any age. Visit fit20.ie to book your free session.
Shrink your bill with double savers at Dunnes Stores. Save in the aisle with the ingredients for 5 meals for less than €25. That's everything you need for a beef stir fry, fish finger wraps, chicken casserole, vegetable penne pasta and salmon teriyaki. All for €24.68 when you save with the till with a 5 off 25 grocery voucher. Find all the recipes on our website. Dunnes Stores. Always better value. Terms and conditions apply. Voucher can be used on next in-store grocery shop of €25 or more.
Autumn is here and so are the new arrivals at Green Shoes. Shop in store or online now from top brands like Doc Martens, Kate Appleby, Tommy Bow and Riker. Also New Balance, Wonders, Echo and many more. Shop LK and one for all gift cards accepted in store. Visit Green Shoes and discover the perfect footwear to complement your style. Green Shoes at Market Square, Letterkenny Shopping Centre, Fulcara and online at greenshoes.com.
Do you need a little extra help staying in your home? At Bluebird Care, we offer a wide variety of QMark-approved personalised home care services across Donegal. And our fully trained and committed staff will always meet your care needs with kindness, compassion and dignity. To get your personal home care assessment plan, visit bluebirdcare.ie or call our care team today on 07491 29562 and bring care home.
Homeowners, it's time to unlock incredible savings on your energy bills. Efficient Renewables is here to reduce your energy consumption. Say goodbye to skyrocketing costs and hello to renewable energy solutions. With no VAT on solar panels and the generous grants for both solar panels and heat pumps, see these innovative systems in action in our state-of-the-art showroom in Newton Cunningham today. Contact Efficient Renewables on 074 97 08320.
Okay, we're joined on the programme now by Anna O'Donnell, owner of Adventure One Surf School. Heartbreaking for you this morning, Anna. Your storage locker burnt down and, of course, it contained all the equipment. What happened?
Yeah, it's just still hard to believe, but it's very sad. On I think it's late, early Sunday morning, 5 o'clock, I got a call from Sabrina, my son's girlfriend, saying that there's a fire, and it took her about half an hour to get through to wake me up, actually, because I'm in Letterkenny. But anyway, the whole thing's gone, literally just lot, everything, and it's all our gear that we've replaced and worked towards getting, for the last 5 years, and it's just everything, gone. So we were in Creasler, we had the storage unit in Glasson, just very close to the Glasson National School in Creasler. So and we're hoping that we know that there's CCTV cameras there, and we're hoping that just even appeal to anyone, that in the area that has cameras or anything, that might be able to help, because I think the part for me is it's just who and why, because to start again, the cost is so much.
Oh, it's terrible for you. this is not a fire that could have started accidentally in this unit. There was no trigger points, no electricity as such.
No, there's no electricity at all. We didn't have that set up at all. And we'd only had the unit there since, February, March this year.
Yeah.
And we didn't have any electricity. It was all dry, all gear, wetsuits, over 120 wetsuits, all our paddle boards, everything. It's not the kind of thing that goes on fire, really. We've tried to think of every possible cause. So what I'd really like to find out is the actual cause, and just so as to start up again next week, looking the next week, and I'm kind of going, what, we have to cancel, or can I just go buy the stuff and start again,
Yeah, and this is something that you've built up, but it's a very personal project, I'd imagine, for you, Anna, and this is an awful lot of effort and time and commitment and love that went up in flames.
Yeah, definitely 5 years of work.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Anna. You want to know now what's going on here. Did someone do this to you? Was there some freak event, whatever that might be, that caused this? But I'm sure the Gardaí are fully investigating the situation, Anna.
Yeah, definitely. We're talking to them every day, and they've said to anyone who knows anything at all, just to contact them in Milford, at Garda Station, and with the number that if we need to call that out. So they're investigating it with the forensics on the site, and hopefully something comes of the CCTV cameras, because the most important part for me now is who and why. Like, why would they do that,
Yeah, because, I know, and I've spoken to people in this situation before, and then you're also wondering, would someone do this to me and do it to me on purpose? And there's a horrible range of emotions running through you, I'm sure, as you're just trying to deal with figuring out where to go to next. So can we just timeline it again, Anna? When did this happen? Where did it happen, and as much information as you can give in case anyone has any information?
Yeah, so our storage unit was in Glasson, so that's Glasan in Creasla. It's just very close, about 50 metres from Glasson National School. So it's really up the back of our road, and you'd only need to know the area, and those in the area would know where that is, but that most people wouldn't, So yeah, it was Sunday morning between 4 and 5. Whether it started at that time, but that's when we were alerted to it happening, and then we got and actually the fire brigade came, and we have saved a few boards that were sitting outside, but they would have gone too. And actually, what's scary part is what could have happened. There's a house right behind it, that could have spread very fast.
Sure,
but thankfully,
violent fire too, with the rubber and the different makeup of the material that's in there, and God knows you could have had scuba diving equipment in there or something too. You never know with these things. I know you didn't, but it could have been so much worse. So you're gonna. Do you know what you're going to do next, Anna, in terms of sort of getting new gear, and or you're in limbo in that situation yet because it's so recent?
Well, the first thing I was doing Sunday, I was just going, I need gear. I just want to replace everything and pretend nothing happened, I know, yeah. So I've got my order. I've got a sheet. I'm just trying to figure out what I need just to keep going. And I was talking to the supplier who we get our gear from. So yeah, I'm working on that, and I'm actually working on where we can put it next, and just looking at Fanid, because that's where we would operate out, mostly Fanid and Rathmullen. And but it was just that it was convenient for where it was, but I wouldn't have any faith in the storage unit again, so I'm looking for we're just working, trying to figure out what's best to do next.
And also too, as part of that, you could have this nagging thing in the back of your head, could this happen again, until such time as you find out exactly what happened or who might be responsible too. It's going to be difficult for you to rest going forward, I'd imagine.
Yeah, that's the key. Every time I think, I'm just going to order stuff and get this, pretend nothing happened, just get on with it, and then you go, I feel like I've knives in my stomach going, who's done this to us? Why would they do that? And that's the part that gets me most, as why? Like, why?
Right. So, listen, if anyone's out there and want to support Adventure One Surf School with a booking or something down the line, go onto their Facebook page and check out Adventure One Surf School, and you get all the information there. And hopefully into the future you can support Anna and the crew going out for a day or something along those lines. And I hope you get a resolution to this quickly. I hope anyone who has any information gets it to the Gardaí as soon as is possible in Milford, or any Garda station for that matter. And I'm so sorry for everything you've been through, and I hope brighter days are ahead. It's very raw for you at the moment, and I just hope things improve for you as quickly as is possible.
Thank you very much. Yeah, and thanks for having us on. Just to, because I think if even chatting about it helps, you know.
Good, no problem. Okay, good stuff, Anna. Stay strong. It'll be okay. I've spoken to people before that had massive multi-million euro businesses destroyed, and they bounce back, and you don't think you will, but you do. So take some comfort in that. I hope you do. Yeah,
I don't want it to break us. There's no way. Like, I'm not giving up on the last 5 years.
Exactly. It's tough, but you'll be good. I can tell. Yeah. I can tell by you'll make sure everything will be okay. Thanks, Anna. Hopefully people will help. Thank you. Any information that can resolve that situation. It's horrible, and especially wondering, did someone do it? Was it personal? That's just a human thing. We'd all be inclined to think like that, I think. My daughter ended up having to move schools due to cyberbullying. There was a group chat made about her in primary school level. She's now in secondary school and is begging to have a bit more free reign on social media. I also don't want to outcast her from her peers. It's a hard balance to strike. Yes, it is. But, like, I don't think there's anyone... We're very defensive of our young people, of course, and we often think butter wouldn't melt in their mouth. But I don't think there's any of us would A, want our child to be the victim of this, but B, want our child to be responsible for another child feeling like this. I just wish there was some system or mechanism or way where parents could sort of be put together, non-confrontational, where everyone could learn. Because I think a lot of people would go, wow, okay, I didn't think Leah Aaron was capable of that. You know what I mean? So I don't know how we can do it, because I don't think there's... Or maybe sometimes I'm a little bit naive in my optimism, but there has to be a way, doesn't it? Because none of us want children to be going through that, or none of us want our children to be responsible for putting other children through that, for that matter.
The 9 till noon show in association with Fit20 Letterkenny. Get fitter and stronger in just 20 minutes. Train once a week with a personal trainer in a climate-controlled gym. Increase strength at any age. Visit fit20.ie to book your free session.
There's always a feeling of anticipation when you sit into a new car. That excitement. You admire its smooth lines, its class-leading technology, its spacious interior. You find yourself sitting comfortably in its sculpted seat. You can sense this one is different. It's electric, charged with attitude, pumped with energy. You've made the right choice. The Opel Mica Electric. Test drive it today at Heron Auto Opel. See heronopel.ie for details.
Starting to think about what's next? Then don't miss Ulster University's Open Days on the 14th to the 16th of September at our Derry Londonderry campus. Come along to learn about our courses and discover where a degree from Ulster could take you. Discover why Ulster University is ranked number 1 in the UK for job prospects by student crowd. Register now at ulster.ac.uk/opendays.
Transform your home with a visit to McGinley's Furniture Letterkenny, located at the Portlink Business Park just off the Port Road. You'll find a huge selection of top quality suites, beds and mattresses, also slide robes and custom-made dining and occasional furniture, with prices to suit every budget. See the great choice for yourself at our showroom, McGinley's Furniture, Portlink Business Park, Port Road, Letterkenny. Click mcginleysfurniture.com.
Are the signs of aging creeping up on you? Are you not happy with the way you look or feel? At Letterkenny Medics Private Clinic, we're here to help you, offering Botox anti-wrinkle injections, derma fillers, skin bio injections, Botox treatment for grinding and clenching teeth, hyperhidrosis that aids excessive sweating. Let our doctors help bring back your confidence and look after what is important to you. To see what real results really look like, book your immediate appointment with no waiting time times at letterkennymedics.ie. Letterkenny Medics, we listen if you want to talk.
OK, let's dig into this announcement from the government that a whole range of speed limits are going to be dropped. Blake Boland is Head of Communications with the AA. Good morning, Blake. Thank you so much for joining us. It's a tough one, isn't it? Because we are all so acutely aware and affected by the awful tragedy on our roads. People feel difficult, I think, putting a counter argument to these types of proposals.
That's right, yeah. We've seen 127 deaths on the road this year already. 25 of those were in August. And even beyond the statistics of road deaths, we have about 812 people were very seriously injured on the roads last year as well. So it's not just the deaths, it's also the roads. And these are wives and husbands and mothers and fathers and children. And there's such tragedy there. And when we're faced with the stark reality of what's happened on the roads this year already, it becomes very, very difficult to justify arguing against any measures that are going to help to make our roads a little bit safer.
But will it? Because in the absence of enforcement, and we do get spates of enforcement, people don't see the guards, they know where the Go Safe vans are. This is just going to inconvenience the 99.5% of people that seemingly, according to these national slowdown days, adhere to the speed limits.
Only on Monday we had a national day, of awareness and enforcement, and still on Monday, just gone, 865 drivers caught speeding during that campaign. The August bank holiday saw something like 1,600 people caught speeding as well. So people are going to continue to do that, and unless we have the necessary enforcement, it's not going to happen. So, you also raised another point. Is it going to inconvenience some people? Or is it going to make a few journeys a little bit slower? Yes, it probably will. But again, in the context of what's happened, is it okay that I get to my destination in 47 minutes instead of 44 minutes or something like that? And do you know what? I think we all have to just kind of bear that in mind. And, I travelled from Drogheda down to Dublin today, 50 kilometres. And at no point was I able to get even close to the speed limits anyway, because there was a little bit of traffic there. So I think the reality of how much this will slow people down has the potential to be exaggerated. Will some people find it frustrating? Yes. But let's remember why it's been done.
Yeah, it's a little bit complicated, isn't it? Because the government will change, say, for instance, the 100-kilometre routes to 80. The 80 to 60, listen, you know yourself here in Donegal, we've got silly, tiny little roads with grass up the middle of them. They shouldn't have 80 on them anyway. But just in relation to the other routes, so 100 down to 80... But then that can be varied up or down by a local authority. But the language coming from government seems to be that they will want the local authorities to follow their guidance that's going to be legislated.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because, motorways and national primary roads will be unchanged. We're going to see some of the secondary roads that you're speaking about, 100 down to 80, some local and rural roads from 80 down to 60, and then some towns and, housing estates and things like that, cities going down to 30 kilometres an hour. So in general, we're looking at a 20 drop, all right. But it's still at the very early stages. I mean, the legislation, the suggestion is going to this month, I believe. But, in reality, we're looking at early 2024 before anything, in terms of legislation and detailed guidance gets put into effect. So in reality, we're looking at, second half of 2024 before any changes are there. But this is a gigantic project. It's very easy to say the speed limits have dropped, but we're talking about tens of thousands of kilometres of roads that need changes in speed signs. We also need a massive education programme to follow this up, because a lot of people are going to be confused. A lot of people won't realise that the speed limit on a road has. So this is going to take a gigantic effort across all parts of society, from the government right down to you and I as we're driving home from work.
Okay, just a quick one, because I have another guest on the speed limits, but I want to let you go, Blake. Are we heading towards €2 a litre for petrol and diesel? Obviously, the government is restoring its in a staggered fashion, VAT and excise and tax and whatever you might call it. What's the markets doing at the moment? Because we do see some of the big suppliers talking of turning the taps down.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. There is the potential for €2 coming up now. We are only in between the second and the third tranche of those restorations, October 31st, 8 cent on petrol and another 6 cent on diesel. And if all else kind of stays the same, we're looking at prices in and around that 190. But as we said, that's if the market stays the same. And Saudi Arabia have been talking about continuing on that reduction of 1 million barrels a day. Production, Russia are also whispering that they might reduce production as well. And the markets will factor this in. And unfortunately, we're going to see prices at got the pumps going up a little bit more over the next few months, but it's really just how far they go is the big question.
I'd love to know what the figure the government have in their head, because I know they have a figure where they start looking at stuff. I think it's €2 a litre, I don't know, but we'll see. Blake, thanks for your time. Blake Boland, Head of Communications with the AA. Former Garda Sergeant Christy Galligan. I mean, some people feel this is quite reactionary on behalf of the government. Other people feel it fits the green agenda. And then we hear from Blake that, look, this is about saving lives and that's what's important. Do you think it will have that effect?
Yeah, and I agree with what your previous speaker said in totality. But I've looked at a number of researches carried out there, both by the International Transport Forum for the OECD, and it's looked at 10 different countries in the European countries, and it examined road safety performance in those countries, and it indicated a strong relationship between the speed and the number of crashes, where speed has a direct influence on the occurrence of road crashes, and it recommended reducing speed on roads as well as the speed for different vehicles. And there was a number of other things like enforcement, road upgrades, road infrastructure, all of that as part of speed reductions to reduce road fatalities and injuries. Now, while we talk about the speed reductions, then the government bringing in legislation to introduce speed reductions, I think we need to look at the overall structure of the road infrastructure and everything else. And there was a time when we were talking about speed limiters on cars. I don't think we'll go that far, but there is another option that could be looked at. But there was another research carried out by a journal of epidemiology and community health in Northern Ireland there, where they reduced the speed limits in Belfast City I think around 70 places or 70 streets in Belfast, from the 30 to 40, down to 20. And they looked at that study over a period of 3 years. And the study showed that there was little impact on the long-term outcomes, including road traffic collisions or casualties and speed, except for the reduction of traffic volume. So people were avoiding the 20-mile-an-hour speed limit areas to go back to the streets where they're 30 to 40, especially in rush hour traffic.
So it has to be thought in the whole too, because the listener said earlier, and we only have a couple of minutes, Christy, I wish we had more, but you know, what about the lowered vehicles? What about the tinted windows? What about the enforcement of mobile phone use? What about the enforcement of speed? That we're going to recalibrate 100,000 kilometres of road, and yet we're not really even getting the simple things right now. And listen, all we all want is no tragedy to be visited on any family.
No. Absolutely. I mean, the recent sad fatalities recently down the country, I mean, it really does break your heart when you see it. And I've been to many crashes and fatalities over the years, and it's the saddest thing to go to a fatality and happen to go to a house and inform their loved ones of the death of our nearest and dearest. And it's not the easiest thing to ever have to do or ever want to do. But the reality is out there, we've had the very high number of crashes in the 70s and 80s, where at one stage we're up to nearly 600-700 fatalities a year. Now that was reduced quite substantially with better enforcement, better awareness, better communication, all of those things that need to be enhanced. But I don't think just reducing that, there has to be a community engagement, a community awareness.
But you believe it should, sorry, Christian, to rush you along, and it's my fault, but you believe we should be reviewing the speed limits in 10 seconds?
I think we should review the speed limits, but, and there are areas here in Donegal, as you were alluded to, where they have 80 kilometres and roads that there should be only 50 kilometres. They've been there for a number of years. Yeah, I think there is a review, but that review can't be on its own, standing on its own. There has to be a further engagement, community engagements, etc.
Christy Galligan, thank you very much indeed for your time.
With all the stories that matter across the Northwest, it's Greg Hughes on the 9 to Noon Show on Highland Radio.
Okay, it is 11 o'clock, another busy hour on the way. We're going to be talking fitness, some fitness advice for you. Any questions about that, get in touch with us. And David James and Fanula Rabbit will be in studio a little later too with news of something really quite exciting. All that on the way after a news update from Donald Kavanagh.
Thank you, Greg. Good morning. A defective block homeowner who's living in a mobile home with his family after the recent demolition of their house in Donegal says they're now stalled in limbo because while they've been told they had clearance to demolish and rebuild, delays in changing from the old redress scheme to the new one mean they still haven't been cleared to draw down funding. Joe Morgan featured on a prime-time programme on RTE television last night during a lengthy interview on this morning's 9 till noon show, the whole of which is available on our website. Joe's daughter Aoife spoke of a wonderful first day at secondary school and then arriving home to find most of her home had been demolished and her bedroom was gone. The Taoiseach has insisted there won't be any talk of an election at all at today's Cabinet meeting. Leo Varadkar says the focus will be on the cost of living and housing. It's the first meeting of ministers since July. 2 men are appearing in court in Dungannon today, charged in connection with the murder of Strabane man Conor Brown in Castlederg on Saturday. Both men, aged 27 and 28, are charged with murder. The 28-year-old is also charged with possession of an offensive weapon with intent to commit an offence. The owner of the Adventure One Surf School in Donegal says she's rebuilding her business after their storage facility was burnt down at the weekend. It happened at Glasson, Creasla, close to the local national school, at around 4 o'clock on Sunday morning last. Donegal County Council is set to get a budget boost of at least €1.5 million from the Department of Housing and Local Government. A memo going to Cabinet this morning confirms more than €75 million in additional funding for the day-to-day running of council areas is to be brought forward. It's part of a revision of how local property tax funds are distributed. And there's been another death on Irish roads. A man has died following a crash in County Carlow this morning. The crash involving a car and truck happened on the N80 at Craignaspedog. Shortly after 6:30, the N80 Carlow to Wexford Road is expected to remain closed for much of the day. And we're back with news headlines again at 12 noon.
Thanks very much indeed, Donald, and we'll be back with more after the ad break.
Looking for the best daycation ever? Well, you're in luck. We've teamed up with Fáilte Ireland and asked the public what their favourite daycation activities are in Leitrim. And they didn't disappoint. Wayne texts that paddleboarding round Carrick-on-Shannon with the Paddle Shack was a great day out. Will said he and his wife loved their day out cycling along the Shannon Blue Way with electric bike trails. They would highly recommend for a peaceful day out. And Tim said his kids loved their day exploring Parks Castle on the shores of Lough Gill. Cleona said her day out at Lough Allen Adventure to learn the Wim Hof method has changed her life. While Will said taking the day boat with Moon River Cruises was the best crack he had in years. Plan your best daycation ever at discoverireland.ie and experience the feeling of a holiday all in one day.
At Lidl, we've done our homework on back-to-school savings. 3 for 2 sandwich favourites means buy 3 and get the cheapest free. On quality Glensala cooked meats, tasty Rathdara cheese and fresh Connell bakery bread with Lidl Plus. And our Board B approved Irish beef mince was $4.19, now $3.35. Go on, shop without compromise. Go full Lidl today.
If it's time to change your oven or hob, at Ben Swinney Euronics we have great value packages available right now. Like the Zanussi oven and hob pack for just $4.99. We also have great value in double ovens, integrated fridge freezers, dishwashers and range cookers, with the delivery and installation service available. And we have great deals in kitchen appliances like air fryers, coffee machines, juicers and food mixers. Call in and see us at Ben Swinney Euronics in Letterkenny or Dunlow.
Enjoy Culture Night in Donegal on Friday, September 22nd. See the full programme of free exhibitions, workshops, performance events, outdoor spectacle, tours, trails and more for all the family now on culturenight.ie/Donegal, including RTE's Culture Night live broadcast with the RTE Concert Orchestra and guests from the Lakeside Centre Dunlewy on RTE1 Television and the RTE Player from 7 p.m. Presented and funded by Donegal County Council and the Arts Council.
The 9 till noon show in association with Fit20 Letterkenny. Get fitter and stronger in just 20 minutes. Train once a week with a personal trainer in a climate-controlled gym. Increase strength at any age. Visit fit20.ie to book your free session.
If
you want to grow up to be a champion, you have to eat like a champion. And the Aldi Savers offers are a super choice with up to 50% off, including granola bars 5-pack was $1.59, now only 79¢. White or wholemeal soft grain sub rolls was 75¢, now only 49¢. Minions ham was $1.39, now only 79¢. And Glenisk organic kids yogurts 4-pack was $2.49, now only $1.99. Aldi, official fresh food partner of the Irish rugby team. Come on, Ireland, we're rooting for you.
Okay, you're very welcome back to the 9 till noon show, and it's Wellness Wednesday time. We're going to talk about fitness in general, but with a particular focus on Fitness 20, Fit 20. You'll have heard the ads running throughout the course of this week, and we're joined by two guests. Daft Green, studio manager in Letterkenny. Good morning to you. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
Good to have you with us. And also joining us remotely is Bram Krosk, one of the founders of Fit 20. Have I got the pronunciation anywhere close, Bram?
Yeah, that was good. It's actually in Dutch pronounced Kruske, but
I'm pronouncing it Kruske.
Sounds just fine.
Bram's okay. Okay, Bram. Welcome. So where did this concept come from? Because for some people, they would say, well, what? How could you make any positive impact on your physical well-being with what, on the face of it, seems like not a massive commitment?
Yeah, well, this has a long history. Goes back to the 70s, comes from the United States, and has been known as high-intensity training and in various forms. And Fit 20 is a form of high-intensity training which has been fine-tuned and tweaked for a larger audience.
And how does it work? What is the science behind it?
Well, there's a lot of science behind it. Basically, if you understand intensity, or the more intense you can train, the more effect you can create. And that's where high intensity comes from. So it all boils down to a short training, which is very effective because of the intensity.
And, you already have 170 Fit 20 studios worldwide. So a lot of people, when you do multiplication on that number, a lot of people engaging with the program.
Yeah, we're close to about 20,000 members worldwide, with great results. So,
and what about people who of different ages, going into this process with different physical abilities? Is it adapted to the client?
It's not necessarily in its origin adapted to the client, but it will be adapted to the client based on their needs, because we basically give a dosage in training that is custom tailored, so anybody can actually do the exercise. The machines we use are very safe. It's great material, great equipment. The pace of the movement is very slow, which basically saves joints, makes it biomechanically sound, and comes down to, or boils down to, that most people can do this, but the trainer adjusts the program according to their needs.
And what are realistic expectations over what time period?
Well, we tend to say to people, well, give it 3 months, so that on a more physical level you can actually notice it. But many members notice things during the training and after the training already. So depending on your perception, you can start picking up all kinds of sensations or changes very quickly. But we typically say, give it about 3 months, then you've gone through a good beginning program, and you can actually experience the results.
And could people expect to see, their clothes a little looser, a change in their physical appearance?
Definitely, yeah. Toning, which is what you describe in terms of the clothes being a bit looser, is one of the benefits people typically experience. Yeah, definitely.
And in terms then of lifestyle changes, are people expected to say, look, you're doing this, but also you maybe need to look at your diet, or maybe even exercise a little more through walking or whatever it might be, or outside of this 20-minute window?
Yeah, of course, we provide the majority or let's say the bulk of what you need in terms of physical stimulation. But we also encourage people to move a lot, but in then low intensity type of activities like walking and bicycling and playing golf or whatever. And then, of course, lifestyle is a very important part of the whole concept. But as a franchise, we took the training, knowing that people typically, when they start with the training, also will look at the other parts of their lifestyle.
And the way it's set up in that it's by appointment, that you get personal attention. It's pretty obvious, but that's a business model. So what's the logic there?
Well, it's also that training is much more difficult than people think. And people don't necessarily know how to progress an exercise program. I mean, some people do, but they also typically spend a lot of time on it and study it. But for most members, they are not interested in particularly the dosage behind it. So the trainer takes care of that and makes sure that a program is progressed at the right moments and can give a stimulus through time.
All right. Daft Green is with us as well, as I mentioned. He is the studio manager in Letterkenny. How long have you been up and running now in Letterkenny, Daft?
So we've been going since the end of May this year.
Yeah, and how's it gone? Is there a cynicism there, a scepticism that you have to sort of... because as I said a little earlier on, this is in no way to cast any doubt on it, but sometimes something can feel too good to be true.
No, 100%. I think that's probably the one thing that we face the most, and it's not just from people who come in and give the free trials, it's people who send us emails or give us phone calls. It's the one thing we hear the most is, how can I be doing this in 20 minutes? I've always heard it should be 3 times a week for a minimum of an hour, and that's the only way you'll ever see results. But I think, honestly, the testimonials we've got from members and the fact that, as you alluded to with Bram earlier, we're close to 20,000 members, there's 170-something studios across the world. There's got to be some truth and something behind this, and it's the fact that it's, something that's been ongoing with Fit20, I think, since 2014 or 2009. I can't remember what Bram said it was last. But, there's got to be some truth behind this, and that's why we offer people partly the free trial as well, as much as it is, to get people in it and give it a go. It's to experience what this training is, to see sort of the goals that we work towards, and to try and, work through any sort of aspersions that we are facing.
Is there a typical journey for someone in that they start off and maybe do the 4 sessions over a month or whatever, and then do other activity as well, or can you go into you guys 2 or 3 times a week, or what is the typical journey that you're seeing from one of your clients?
Of course. So a lot of people that'll come to us maybe have never been to a gym before, don't do any sort of exercise, really are starting from square one, and that's fine. That's what we're there for, as well as people who want to really push themselves at a higher end, perhaps, of their fitness. But we would never recommend people be doing this sort of training more than once a week. The reason behind that is it is so intense, as Bram mentioned, that you really do need to give yourself time to recover before you go and push yourself again. Otherwise, you're just going to find you're in reverse. A lot of people will pick up things based on the results they're starting to see with us. So a few members have said, they're starting to feel a little bit better. Like you said, clothes are fitting a little bit better. They're feeling just a little bit lighter, a little bit more energy. So they're going out and they're doing extra things on top of doing the Fit20 training. That's absolutely fine. As Bram mentioned, we quite happily recommend people do things that are low intensity. So as you mentioned, walking, cycling, your golf, those sorts of things. But what we probably wouldn't recommend on top of doing the training that you are doing with us is doing something else high intensity, because you're just going to eat into that recovery and you're going to start to, like I said, go backwards realistically.
Yeah, of course. And do you advise people what is best for them to sort of consume afterwards as part of that recovery? Or is this designed to fit in with people's lifestyle as is?
Yeah, it is absolutely designed to fit into people's lifestyles. Obviously, if someone's coming in and they're telling us that one of their goals is they're really looking to lose weight, then we can have conversations about things that they should and shouldn't be doing, and that does sort of stretch further into the general lifestyle. But it isn't sort of something we necessarily sit down and speak and say you have to be eating this sort of food to recover quickly or to recover to the best of your ability. If people wish to do that and they want to look more into it or they want to have that conversation with us, that's absolutely something we can do, but it isn't something we naturally do all the time.
Yeah, and Bram, you know, we're learning all the time, and we haven't reached a point necessarily across fitness and health where we know everything and everything's perfect. I mean, we saw recently there, and I'm sure some would agree and some would disagree, where the amount of active minutes walking steps, for an example, that we might need was downgraded significantly from like 10 to 2,500 or something along those lines. And different things fit different people. As I say, it is, you know, we don't know the ultimate what's perfect to do here. I'm sure you guys would say you've hit on it, but you get where I'm coming from?
Sure. But one of the things we use is in a way what we call muscle failure. So we know that if we can reach that point with our members, then we also know that the body will understand the signal or the stimulus and understand that it needs to change, adapt, and make itself better. Now, the example you mentioned about the 10,000 steps, that was actually a marketing thing way back. The machine was called 10,000 steps. That started leading its own life. And for years, everybody sort of took this in as the truth, where now they're finding out, it can be less, and benefits are to be had from a lower intensity.
You're going to tell me next that the 5 a day is a marketing thing, because I know in Asian countries it's 12, 13, 14, 15, but 5 a day sounds very commercial all of a sudden once you point out the 10,000 steps marker.
Yeah. Well, like high intensity has a lot of research behind it, and back in the days we got the request like, well, prove it. So we set out to prove it by doing the Fit20 study together with James Steele, an associate professor at Solent University in Southampton, UK. And we did a study under 16,000 of our clients, going through their data and the training charts, anonymized, of course, but it showed significant improvement. And the improvements are so significant in terms of actual changes in strength and physical appearance.
So if I go into you, Dav, I've just had a baby, I want to tighten up that area, maybe I've got a beer belly, maybe I want a bigger bum. Can people go in and sort of say, well, that's kind of what I want to target on? Is that the way what can work?
So people absolutely come in with their goals and what it is they're looking to achieve. We like to be really realistic with our clients. You are there for 20 minutes a week. We are going to be doing a sort of pre-prescribed program, but adapted to you. We are looking at overall general health, overall your general fitness, your sort of your strength in the whole body, where people come in with perhaps weaknesses or they're struggling with this or with that. And, for myself, I'm a rugby player. I've been through knee injuries and shoulder injuries, and those sort of areas never feel the same until you start to do some training around those areas, and you start to find that all of a sudden you start to lose some soreness and some stiffness because you're starting to get back into the swing of things. And
I presume too, you're supporting the joint.
That's exactly what it is.
With muscle around it.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. And you speak to loads of people who've been through these sorts of injuries and things, and they go to see doctors and physiotherapists, and it's always, you need to start training the muscles around these joints, and that's the best way that you're going to, one, recover, but also prevent any further injury.
We'll work with backs as well. Would people get good results with, you get people that suffer with the base of my back, and it's
100%. Yeah,
it's often more bony than muscly, fatty, if you know what I mean.
100%. Yeah, so we've many clients that come in, and one of the first things that they mention as part of signing up with us, it's an intake form. We have a chat about your health and any issues, and many people saying they've got back issues and back injuries, and part of the training is specifically aimed around your core areas. So you're looking at your abs, looking at the muscles through your back, and that is only going to help that area. So, people with back injuries are going to find, like Bram said, given a prolonged period of time. So you're looking realistically a minimum of 3 months, you're going to start noticing those aches and pains start to disappear. And the more you continue with the training, the better it gets. And unfortunately, the way the world is, the moment you stop, things start to regress. And that is just how it works.
One of the best things you can do, though, is to be active and to be as physically fit as you can. I mean, that's pretty much well accepted now at this stage. Okay. Interesting, Bram. We have a 3-month membership as a part of a giveaway, as part of our relationship for this week. And I know lots of people that are halfway through or are going to give it a go. But that's what makes the world go round. Bram, thanks for your time. Really appreciate it. So where are you based at the moment? You personally, you over in Holland?
We're in Hattem in the Netherlands. Right?
Netherlands,
yeah.
sorry. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, it's been lovely having you on. Bram Kriske.
Kruske.
Next time we speak, I'll have it down. All right.
All right.
Take care, Bram. Thanks very much indeed. And Daft Green, studio manager in Letterkenny. How do people get in contact with you guys if they want more information?
Absolutely. So we've got the email, we've got a phone number, we've got a Facebook page, we've got the website, fit20.ie, everything you could ever need. There's plenty of ways you can get in contact with us. We are pretty easy to find.
All right, okay. And you can have, if people just want to have a chat, you have a no obligation introductory training as well. So get in contact with the guys. All right, interesting. Thanks very much indeed.
Thank you very much.
All right, that's Daft Green there. We'll be back with more after the break.
The county's #1 talk show, The 9 till Noon Show on Highland Radio.
The 9 till Noon Show in association with Fit20 Letterkenny. Get fitter and stronger in just 20 minutes. Train once a week with a personal trainer in a climate-controlled gym. Increase strength at any age. Visit fit20.ie to book your free session.
The Olive Grove Pizzeria is now open at the new Smokes and Grills restaurant in Letterkenny, serving freshly made, mouth-watering pizzas every Wednesday to Sunday from 12. To celebrate the opening during September, a 12-inch pepperoni pizza is just $7.50. This great deal is available to sit in or take away. The Olive Grove Pizzeria at Smokes and Grills in Riverside Retail Park, Letterkenny. Call 9113333 or see Smokes and Grills on Facebook.
Looking for the best place in the Northwest to get a bed or mattress? Restex Beds and Mountaintop Letterkenny has a great selection and great prices. Restex Beds has everything you need for a good night's sleep. Visit them today and sleep better tonight.
Cohortigus le gach duine a fuair tairiscint CAO chun staidir dhéine in Ulscoil Technoliachta in Atlanti. Tosíonn the Hurth Anish. Chun Cholas Fádain Haskins Wech le Tosu ag atu.ie/offers. Mar bhúr tú tairiscint go ATU, ach go bhfuil simat staidir dhéine a cuasa CAO linn in Mion Fover to reach cuasaí fós oscailte. Sé go dtí atu.ie/available places. Chun chile ólas all. ATU. Tá the hauchaí an seo.
Have I got news for you? The Harvey's Point Cabaret is back. Every Wednesday in September and October, Eamon has gathered a galaxy of stars to captivate and entertain. A scrumptious dinner, fabulous entertainment, or a 2-night accommodation package. Harvey's Point Cabaret 074 972 2208 for an immediate reservation or harveyspoint.com.
Highland Radio time checks with Expressway. Travel Route 32 from Letterkenny to Dublin when you book online and travel for less. Expressway, bringing you the time at...
The time's 11:23. We're joined on the programme now by Lisa. How are you getting on, Lisa?
Yes, good morning, Greg. How are you?
I'm good. We've been talking today about the government looking to speed through as quick as they can, reduction in speed limits across the country. But this is something that's ever present in your life, excessive speeding, dangerous driving. Tell us where you are and what life is like.
Well, we're living on the N56. We're 3/4 of a mile outside Dunlow en route to Glenties. We've had a new infrastructure of a road, and we're very grateful for the road. Now, it's a built-up area we're living in Cronashallock, but the new road is developing speed. Pedestrians and cyclists and the residents were frightened and scared to go out for a walk. The road is fabulous. We have a new cycle lane, and it's a lovely area. And we have people coming from Dunlow out to walk at this area. We never had it before. But we would like to express our deep concern with the continuous speed from the junction of the Little Bridge to the Big Bridge. Mm-hmm. The situation has reached a critical point now, and we're demanding immediate intervention from concerned authorities.
You're just waiting for something incredibly serious to happen by the sounds of things, Lisa.
Yeah, there's going to be a fatality. There is. Over the past couple of weeks, I have witnessed as a resident the overtaking at high speed, U-turns on the cycle lane, whilst driving, exiting my dwelling, being faced with overtaking on the opposite side, approaching me. Residents edging out slowly and safely, only to be faced with another vehicle tooting right up tight behind them and then overtaking carelessly. Anxious walkers and cyclists pulling into the hard shoulder as the need for speed drivers approach. We have resident children crossing a busy road to get to the cycle lane, and then we have blind spots on one-way leaving dwellings, and the speed of motorists coming, approaching them. So we've all these concerns. I have written letters to the authorities, and one of the things that we would like to see is the reduction of speed. That's a major thing we would like. Then we would like the installation of safety barriers between the main road and the cycle lane to protect pedestrians and cyclists from the little bridge to the big bridge. Road signs to alert Garda presence. A Go Mile sign, a solid white line, children at play signs, and roadsides to alert deer in the vicinity. Where we had 3 deer killed on the road, on this small stretch of road this time last year.
Yeah, it sounds like it's this has all been brought upon you. This wasn't like this beforehand, obviously. In other words, the new road improvements have created a lot of these problems because it's such a good stretch.
A great stretch of road, but it's a speed trap now. It's just need to put the foot to the board. To see a stretch of road and away they go.
And ironically, Lisa, we're in a situation whereby the only way a Go Safe van would end up there is if there was a very serious collision or a fatality. We need to be proactive, don't we, and not wait till something like that happens before we see some measures. Now, I know you want it to go far beyond that. A neighbour of yours, Mary, joins us on the programme as well. Mary, I'm sure Lisa's hit on an awful lot of your lived experience. What's it like?
Absolutely hit the nail on the head, and it's not a kind of a children at play. It's going to be a children in a coffin that we're going to be putting on that road, and it's going to become notorious for the fact that somebody's going to be killed. I myself work in the town in the main street there, and I just come out. I'm only about 400, 500 yards from my own house, and I turn up into the lane here, and I was the first car. There was 2 cars behind me, and the car behind me decided that they were going to overtake. So I nearly killed myself. Well, he would have killed me. 2 young lads in a car, and me just waiting to just turn up into my own house. And that's the danger. The absolute unseen danger is that we don't have the procedures or the details in place where we need to stop this before it gets away on the road to Glenties. I mean, it's ironic that the road to Glenties, the Cherish the Ladies song, is the road to Glenties. It could be a killer right now. There's somebody waiting to... Anybody could be killed. The dog's already been done. The cats are all gone. So we've killed every kind of wildlife that's on that road. And we still don't have a solid white line, as Lisa says. We still don't have a Go Mile. We still don't have children, because there are children there. Our grandchildren were here, and our my sister's children were here. We were all on hot bricks because we couldn't let them outside. And yet your previous talk was about how we need to get children outside. How can we get children outside if we can't even trust that the road is going to be even safe? I know they're not going to be on the roads, but we just need to know that we've got a wee bit of protection here when it comes to the road. So, yeah, I totally agree with what Lisa has said. And, yeah, I'm come from Glasgow, and I think that this is an absolute disaster waiting to happen. And I'm sorry to say that, but we've just, those young children that were killed down the road there or down the country, and now we're allowing this to happen now. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So thank you for letting me speak there.
No. Listen, and I'm listening to you because, and whilst doing so, just looking at it on Google Maps. Now, the last time Google Maps ran through, the road was still being built, so to speak. But you can see exactly how you're talking about and how it's lending itself to this type of speeding and driver activity. What about, have we got an opportunity yet to get maybe engineers on site so there can be a meeting, and either maybe Lisa, you want to come back in on that?
Yes,
just in terms of saying, look, this is our... Go ahead.
We would like to arrange a meeting with all our residents in this community, with the TII and with the Senior Executive Engineer with the Donegal County Council as soon as possible. And if we could have our local councillors available, Michael Collum and Norrie McGarvey available as well, I think that would help us to sit down, have a chat and get things drawn up and have things done for the future, because we can see as residents dangers happening on this part of the road. But we're expressing our opinions now, but it's up to the road safety design to create a safe environment for pedestrians, cyclists and motorists.
And what's really important here is, and I think these conversations are almost as important as our earlier conversations about speed restrictions and signage and all that type of stuff. What we're trying to prevent here is a serious crash whereby we're talking about a loss of life and we end up with a cross or something on the side of this road. We've got people who live in the area that see it all. We have an opportunity to maybe prevent something like the awful tragedy that's visited us in this county and in the west of the county and what we've witnessed down the country. And I think that's what both of you are trying to do. And I think, Mary, that's coming across in your voice, is that's what this is about. Yes, of course, it will be safer going in and out of properties and what have you, but we have an opportunity to prevent something here.
Do you reckon it? Yeah. Could I just add one wee thing in there?
Whatever you wish.
Yeah. They went to all the bother of building a cycle track that runs right up by our houses, all the way up. And it actually goes all the way to Glenties again. It's that, all the way to Glenties, the road to Glenties, right? And yet, we're too scared to walk it or ride it because we see cars coming towards us at a speed that would terrify you. Mm-hmm. So I'm not saying that the whole road to Glenties needs to be whatever, but I'm just telling you that this country has went to all of us county, has went to all the bother of putting that in, and guess what? The very people that live on it can't use it.
Yeah, okay. Right, Listen, both of you, thank you very much indeed. We do really appreciate you helping us to help you and others in the area. Thanks very much indeed.
Thank you, Greg. Thanks very much.
All right, Mary and Lisa, two very concerned residents of the Cronashallock area. If you're familiar with that stretch, let us know if you want to lend your voice to that. Lots of people talking about speed and what have you, and we've so many comments which I will get to over the course of the next 28 minutes and certainly into tomorrow as well, as we appreciate so many of you getting involved. Good morning, Paul, Margaret, Annie, Anita, Karina, Marie, Anna, Audrey, Kathy and Breed, amongst the hundreds of you watching us on our social media across YouTube, Highland Radio Ireland. You can watch us on your big screen, your Fire Stick, however you wish to do so, and across our Facebook pages as well. And the reason I invite you to do so is because we have David James and Fionnuala Rabbit about to join us with some very exciting news. Stay right where you are.
Watch the show live now on YouTube, Facebook and at highlandradio.com.
The 9 till noon show in association with Fit20 Letterkenny. Get fitter and stronger in just 20 minutes. Train once a week with a personal trainer in a climate-controlled gym. Increase strength at any age. Visit fit20.ie to book your free session.
Guess what? The Aer Lingus September sale is now on. You can fly to some incredible North American destinations like New York, Orlando, Seattle and more from just $159.99 each way as part of a return trip. Book now on airlingus.com. Discover all of our US destinations from just $159.99 each way as part of a return trip. Sale ends September 18th. T's and C's apply. Travel October 1st, 2023 to March 13th, 2024.
Colm here from Sweeney's Home Value Builders Providers, Lettermack Award and Derrybeg. Are you starting a new build or planning a renovation anytime soon? Why not give us a call today for quotation for all your building needs? Whether it's steel or insulation, timber or slates, we have it all at Sweeney's Builders Providers, Lettermack Award and Derrybeg. Call 074 95 44 114. And now with delivery all across Donegal, at Sweeney's Builders Providers, we have it all.
Summer may be over, but the need for storage is just beginning. Dealside Garden Furniture brings you the perfect solution with a full range of sizes in garden sheds, outdoor canopies and much more. Safely store your barbecue, patio furniture and outdoor toys. Dealside Garden Furniture Lifford, made to measure and one-off designs are our speciality. Find us on social media.
Why leave all the magic moments or great scenes you've captured on your phone sitting there or in the cloud when you can have them printed at McGee's Chemist? Using the McGee's app or one of the in-store kiosks, you can upload your photos from your phone, Google Photos, Facebook or Instagram and have them printed instantly within an hour or in by 10 and ready by 5. See mcgees.ie for more details. Hold your memories in your hand with McGee's Chemist, Letterkenny.
House to Home Bridgend, Donegal. Our modest front door opens onto 2 floors of Irish-made furniture, suites, beds, mattresses, dining and occasional furniture. Step into our showroom and see how we can transform your house into a home. House to Home Furniture, flooring, slide robes and interiors, Bridgend, Donegal.
That is David James and Louisiana, and David James is in studio with us, and those of you at home watching the stream or wherever you are might have a clue what we're talking about, because we are launching a Highland Radio Hooly, and in studio with me is, I was going to say Michael and Fionnuala, David and Fionnuala. David, good morning to you.
Morning, Greg, how are you?
I am doing fantastic. Right, so who's going to sell this for me?
Well, look, I'm very excited because here, as you said, normally I'm here with Michael. Now I've got a much younger person to hang out with. It's very exciting for me. Younger and, may I say, more attractive. Michael will be very offended, but here we go. Matt to be hanging out with, which is always a good sign for me. And he's inviting me away on my holidays, which, you know me, a lover of the sun. And this week in particular, when it's absolutely scorcho out there, I'm already thinking about, where am I going to go next year? How am I going to get more of this heat? And seeing as how my millions haven't arrived yet and I'm not ready to, retire and move somewhere sunny, I'm going to have to make do with the Highland Hooly next year, which is very exciting.
And where are you going, David?
Greg, we are going to Salou for 7 nights next September, and this is something that we've probably wanted to do for a while, and the people of the Northwest have sort of shown a demand for this. Obviously, they love country music, and who doesn't love a bit of sun? So we've combined the two things together, and we're going for 7 nights to the 4-star Sol Costage Errata Hotel next September from the 14th to the 21st. And we've got some of our great friends in the music business joining us for the week. We've got Margot, who's going to be there, John McNichol, Robert Mazzell, Hugo Duncan, Claudia Buckley, Sean Cuddy, Olivia Douglas, Jim Devine. The list just goes on and on and on.
And it's a considered purchase, but I still don't understand how you're doing it. It's 7 nights, dinner, bed and breakfast. So that's the accommodation. So your flights.
Flights are not included in this price. So we
fly out, right? And then you get 7 nights, dinner, bed and breakfast in a 4-star hotel, and all of that entertainment for €817.
It really is great value whenever you put it like that. And every day out there we're going to have poolside entertainment during the afternoon. I was out there at the weekend actually checking out the hotel.
Are you packing your budgie smugglers?
They're already in. I actually took 3 pairs out and left them over there for over the weekend.
But I just keep thinking of Borat. I'm hoping that it's green. What was that he was wearing?
That was
Well, I've got a
Mankini.
I've got a purple one for the Highland colours.
Excited. I know, always thinking of the branding. Always about the branding.
Where are you going to put the logo?
It's a surprise. But I was
It's
out
getting
there.
rude all of a sudden.
It's not rude at all, Falula. That's your head. Not at all. Go ahead.
You're not allowed to come to Salou. I was out there at the weekend checking out the hotel, and it's a beautiful, beautiful location. And I was just talking about the poolside entertainment there. They've got a lovely big stage right out by their 3 swimming pools. So we're going to have afternoon entertainment out there. Then we're going to have nightly shows with a few different artists, maybe 3 artists a night in the main ballroom. And then we'll have late night entertainment on top of that again.
Yeah, so for 100 years, sorry to break this down, but so everything's so expensive at the moment. So effectively, for €100 per day, you're getting all the entertainment, dinner, bed and breakfast, and your hotel.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's pretty decent.
And actually,
you really squeezed them on that, didn't you?
Yeah, and
we see how much it is to get a hotel room here.
Well, I think it's what we were, as David was saying, we've been really determined that we do something.
And you have to drive the price down as much as possible.
Exactly.
Yeah.
When we looked at this in the past, it just became very cost prohibitive, and we didn't want to do anything that, you know, it's awful to announce something that people would love to go on but can't afford to go. You know, some of these trips are amazing and fantastic, and they're shown all over the world. I know David's been on loads of them, which are like, trips of a lifetime and that kind of thing. But I think for our first one, we've always tried to do our best to make sure that it's open to as many people as possible, as much of our listenership as possible, and really, as you said, David has really worked hard in order to bring down the price as tight as you possibly can for this. And that's really what it's all about. It's about allowing as many people that would like to get involved, that people could bring extra family members, make it a family trip. You know what I mean? You can bring kids with you at this kind of price. It's not exorbitant when you think of how much it is to go away to Spain for a week. If you went with any of the kind of airlines or the... like holiday groups and that kind of thing.
Okay,
you know,
so
you're going on any of those things where everything is included. This is really good. Salou is a beautiful part of the world as well, so I think people will enjoy it if they want to take a break. There's, there's beaches and other things that they can do when they're over there. So there's it just opens up a great many opportunities. And we just wanted to give as cost-effective a price as possible so that as many people as possible can get themselves involved. Now, as you say, it doesn't include the flights, but if you start looking at flights now, for next year, you will get your bargains along the way, and they'll barely become. Yeah, you can increase in it.
You can fly out there for like €100 and maybe return. And actually, Sharon Kelly, who is the travel agent, Country Music Tours, if you would like them, they can book their flights for you, and they'll get you the best possible price on that day.
So let's look at what we're talking about here again. It's the Highland Radio Hooly Salou 2024. It's the 14th to the 21st of September, this time next year. And I think we all know how quickly that goes in. It's 7 nights dinner, bed and breakfast in the 4-star Sol Costa Dorada Hotel. Margot, John McNichol, Robert Marzell, Hugo Duncan, Claudia Buckley, Matt Levy, Sean Cuddy, Olivia Douglas, Gavin Gribben, Jim Devine, Sinead Black, the Ryan Turner Band, and on it goes. Obviously, the artist line-up subject to change, but it's not just night times, there's day entertainment. This is from, as much as you want to engage in it, you can engage in country music and the crack.
If you like.
But then again, people go, I'm actually, you know what, we're going to go on a wee day trip. It's up to you.
Yeah,
you're not locked into anything, but the entertainment is there. There'll be no end to dancing and crack.
It'll be there, and you know what? People might think to themselves whenever they're planning this that, we're going to clear off for a couple of days and go and do this and go and do that. They don't. They just live it and breathe it, because the crack is that good. And it's worth mentioning that if you did want to plan a day trip, you can go into Barcelona. It's only an hour away, and to see the new camp or see whatever else it has to offer.
I'm in the first group. I would just stay there.
Yeah.
I'd have great hopes, but I wouldn't.
Bring nothing in your suitcase but the budgie smugglers. That's it.
The price also includes airport transfer. So whenever you arrive in Barcelona Reus, that's the name of the airport. It's a lovely airport. It's nice. It's like Knock. It's not too big. It's not too daunting. You'll land there, and there'll be reps there that'll lead you straight to your coach. And 15 minutes later, you'll be in the pool with your budgie smugglers.
Right, okay. So how do we go about booking it then?
That's what I was just going to say. The booking now normally with the trips is that you just contact ourselves here and make the booking, but this is slightly different. So you need to contact Country Music Tours, and the number for them is 074 911 9955. And obviously call us if you have any problems whatsoever, and we can help put you through to people. We can get them to call you back, that kind of thing. But just, it is a different form of booking, because obviously when it comes to away trips, we can't just do it on our own. You have to have a travel agent, you know, with licenses and just with the insurance and all that kind of thing. So we're really delighted to be doing this with Country Music Tours. They've been a great help in putting it all together. So we're delighted to be partnering with them in it as well.
Yeah, indeed. The trips, these types of trips have huge return custom, because people make friends for life.
Well, that's
and I've never been on one, but when you're out and about at different things, you bump into people that have been on these trips and the Highland trips and other people's trips, and they love them and they go again. But why not let this be the first for you and get into that whole buzz? Because
exactly,
I think it's one of those things you have to go to, don't you, before you really sort of get a sense of how immersive it is.
Yeah, and you know, it's a great opportunity for people who may be travelling themselves. You know, that can be a daunting thing for people to be going on holidays themselves, but the likes of this, it's slightly different in the sense that, you know, we're all going to be there. There's a huge family feel about the thing, and it's just a great opportunity to come and, you know, maybe meet up with people who you mightn't have met before, and as you said, they end up becoming repeat customers because they have such a great time.
I think you need, this is what I'm just thinking of it, you need to think of this as being like Galway Rag Week Donegal Day, but in Spain and for people over 30.
Just trying to get over London. Can you stop describing it like that?
But that's what it's going to be like, isn't it? It's like Donegal Day. Think of it, what it was like in Galway, but for people over 30.
No, it is. It's amazing, and I mentioned London is a little bit. It's like that, but on a more intimate scale. You know yourself. There's loads of people you know but you've connections with in the sun. You know, it's and the hotel. You were over at the hotel. What's it like?
I was over at the hotel at the weekend. Oh, lovely hotel. And you know, sometimes whenever you're going foreign and dinners in the hotel can be sort of questionable, and it was a concern that we had, so that's why we ultimately had to go over and check it out. The food was absolutely beautiful, lovely, really, really nice, couldn't have any complaints. Lovely spacious rooms, fully air conditioned, lovely big ballroom that we've got secured for the 7 nights, and swimming pool areas, there's a spa, there's a gym, the whole thing.
So paint the picture for me. We're beside the pool, right? What time? About 2 in the afternoon? 1?
Yeah, about 2 in the afternoon.
So I'm make my way downstairs.
Yeah.
Go out into the pool area opens out. The water is there. There's probably a bar there. Who's to say? But drinks won't be too far away. And what are you set up with a mic and a
So Greg Hughes will come downstairs. Somebody will say to him, "Greg, do you remember what you done last night?" Oh my God. We have to change the hotel next year.
And I turn and go back upstairs.
So you'll come downstairs. You'll be able to lie out by the pool and relax yourself.
And then the music. How does that start? What's the crack there like?
Yeah, so every day we'll have different artists entertaining you outside the pool for a couple of hours, and there's a lovely area there where people will be able to dance out in front of the pool. And then if you're not into the music that day, you want to just chill out, there's a separate pool on down to the other side, and then there's a lovely big middle part with the bar and all the rest.
Yeah, so. And then you go, right, I'm going up at 6 and I'll come back down at 8 or something like that. Get something to eat. Lovely stuff.
Yeah.
Are you going, Fionnuala?
I have it stuck in the diary now, so God willing and all, I really am hoping to go, because I never really went on those kind of like package holidays when I was younger. It wasn't something that I was able to do because I had a young daughter. So I'm looking at this now as being the way of recapturing. And like David said, I am not one to travel by myself, but I am a single person. So it's good to get into something like this just to kind of start to put a toe in the water and see, well, would I like to travel on tours and on groups and things like that? So I'm really looking forward to it now and checking it all out.
Okay, it's the Highland Radio Hooly Salute 2024, pretty much a year from today, the 14th to the 21st of September. 7 nights dinner B&B in the 4-star Sol Costa Dorado Hotel. A fantastic lineup of guests. What's included is your accommodation. It's dinner, B&B, airport transfers. If you want more information, get onto countrymusictours.ie, and you can also sort out your own flights yourself, which I might be inclined to, because I like to go around different airports and figure out what works best for me. Do you know what I mean? Or you can get the best value too through the booking agent, the travel agent. All right, and the figure there for the package, except for the flights, $817 per person. Break that down, little over 100 a night for all of that entertainment, food, breakfast, the whole lot. So it's a goodie. It's a goodie. And as I say, we all recognise that it's going to be beyond the reach of some. Maybe they'll do it another time. But there's a big group of people out there that this is just going to be fantastic for them as well.
Well, it's 52 weeks away, so, you know, it's what is it, 15 a week, not even, and you will be there in Spain with the feet up this time next year.
Brilliant stuff. All right, then. Anything else you want to add, Vanula?
I know, I'm very bad for jumping in when he finishes.
That's why I always say anything you want to add.
I know. No, I've nothing to add. Only I hope that we're going to see a lot of our listeners there. This is our first time doing it, and we'd like to think that it's the start of something really special for us. You know, we've got some fantastic listeners. They've come with us on our trips that we've done around Ireland, and the one we had for Scotland this year. And this is just another way of us reaching out to listeners, and hopefully, as you say, many people won't find
ahead
it
of
too
the Scotland
expensive.
trip, I tried to do a campaign where, you know, to try and get, you know, people listening to the show to sort of say, yeah, let Greg go. Greg should go. Greg
should totally start that campaign.
Nothing happened. Not a sinner joined the campaign.
How about you're going to start this one now? You have a whole year to try and bribe people along the year.
Anyone cares about me.
Will you come and sing Summer Holiday by Cliff Richard at the pool 2 days out of the 7?
Oh, yeah. I'll do more than that.
Okay, you're hired.
I'll do more than
You're hired.
I will do more than that. All right, we'll be back with more. Thanks very much, David. Thanks very much, Vanula.
Thank you.
Okay, Robert Mazzell, who's going on that trip as well. If you're a Robert Mazzell fan, don't forget you can get on to countrymusictours.ie and you'll find out more information there. Now, on this week's show, with thanks to Fit20, we're giving you the chance to win a 3-month membership to get stronger in just 20 minutes with Fit20. Train once a week with a personal trainer in a climate-controlled gym. We had a question today for a qualifier to go into the draw on Friday. The question was... I haven't a clue. Where is it? It's here somewhere. Yeah, where is Times Square? Where are you most likely to be if you're on Times Square? New York or Dublin? The answer, of course, is New York. Anne Griffin in Ballybofey, Kennett-Derry, you are in the draw. So you could be winning 3 months membership to Fit20 on Friday.
I'll be on my way. Thank you, but no thank you. Not today. First thing is matrimony. Next thing is alimony. Wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. I'll be on my way. Wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. I'll be on my way.
The 9 till noon show in association with Fit20 Letterkenny. Get fitter and stronger in just 20 minutes. Train once a week with a personal trainer in a climate-controlled gym. Increase strength at any age. Visit fit20.ie to book your free session.
The Rent-A-Room Relief Scheme is now open, and you could earn up to €14,000 a year tax-free by renting a room in your home to a student. This scheme is open to everyone and won't affect your payments if you're in receipt of social welfare support. Find out more at gov.ie/room for a student, an initiative of the Government of Ireland.
Donegal County Council has prepared the Draft County Donegal Development Plan 2024 to 2030, incorporating area plans for Buncrana, Ballybuffet, Stranrawer and Bundoran. Public consultation runs from Friday 4th of August to Friday 13th of October 2023, with the draft plan now available for public inspection and comment up until the 13th of October 2023. For more information and to have your say, visit donegaldevplan.ie.
We're sorry to inform you of yet another delay. No, not the train this time, it's John. He's delayed getting his eyes tested. If he's accidentally sat in your lap, knocked over your suitcase or kissed you instead of his wife, we can only apologise. John has now been informed that eye tests and glasses from the €69 range at Specsavers are free with PRSI or medical card. So there's no need to delay booking an appointment. Find out more at specsavers.ie. John, can you get off my lap?
Mr. Blue Sky, tell us why. The Lotto jackpot is an estimated €4.5 million. Play responsibly in-store, in-app or at lottery.ie. The National Lottery. It could be you.
Eat healthy, work smart, be better. I don't listen to any of that. I'm fine the way I am, according to the mammy. And we all know she's never wrong. No, the only thing I'm changing is my broadband provider. You see, National Broadband Ireland is delivering high-speed fibre broadband right to my door. With almost 50 broadband providers using their network, I can decide who I want to connect with. I just need to find the best deal for me. And the mammy, of course. You can find out all about it at nbi.ie. NBI, building a limitless Ireland, supported by the Government of Ireland.
Okay, last couple of minutes on the show. Thanks again to David and Fanula. And that's going to be... I've really got fear of missing out envy. I think that's going to be a great week next September. Something to look forward to. We'd like to support Lisa and Mary on the topic of the road safety on the Cronashallock Road. We would hope that this highlights the concerns of all residents and that the Council and Road Safety Authority will meet measures have to be taken to reduce the speed limit before there are any more tragedies. This is from concerned resident Joanne Breslin, and hopefully you stay in touch with us here as well. And if that progresses or needs an extra push, that's what we're here for. You know, when I invite people at the start of the show, is there something you want to raise with us? That's a perfect example, and I'll work with you to if it saves a life, then it's a no-brainer, isn't it? The road at Cronashallock is lethal. I live along it and the car speeds are crazy. 20 million spent on a cycle lane, but cyclists won't use it. Dunlow to Glenties Road upgrade has seen more speeding vehicles along this stretch, makes the adjacent cycles stroke walkway very dangerous. Vehicles need to slow down, and a crash barrier fitted in areas where the cycle lane and road are very close together. And I would never have considered that, really, to be honest with you, as someone who wouldn't use that cycle stroke walk lane, but people don't avail of it because they don't believe it to be safe. They don't feel protected from the traffic. Overtaking needs to be implemented in the driving test. It's not taught, says a listener. Great point. And it results in either tailbacks because the drivers are too scared to overtake, or people cutting it too fine. And on they go. I will be starting the show tomorrow with loads of your calls and comments, or loads of your comments that have been coming in over the course of the morning, but that's unfortunately where time has run out for us. I want to thank Donna Marie Doherty and Niamh Shields for their work on the programme. We're all going to be back with you tomorrow morning from 9. Please stay tuned. Coming up, it's Around the Northwest with John Breslin. After that, David James back in with Jive Time. But as I say, from me, Greg Hughes and the rest of the team, have a wonderful Wednesday, and we'll all see you very soon.